We have a full house and a busy agenda, so if everybody could take their seats. We're going to take things a little bit out of order, but we will start, as we always do, with the flag salute. And I keep forgetting to say this, but this meeting is being recorded by video and audio in accordance with the state open meeting law. Having said that, we'll have a Pledge of Allegiance, and Councilor Hecht will lead us. He's just back. So. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And next we'll have a moment of silence. Thank you very much. So we're going to take things a little out of order. The first order of business, Gloucester is honored, as we often are, by our student athletes on the wonderful performance of the girls softball team at the high school. We are planning a more formal ceremony with the school committee because both elected bodies wish to honor you, but we are so pleased that you all showed up tonight. So we would ask if the girls softball team would come to step up here and form a little circle right here in front of the podium so that we can give them a round of applause. So parents and other interested parties, here's your photo up, but while we're doing that, I'd like to ask counselors to say their words. Let's start with Councilor Gilman. Councilor Gilman.
Team, I was there Saturday night and you were just amazing. I am absolutely speechless by your season and about your performance. I know it was a tough game, but you were stellar. Your teamwork was amazing. Everything about your season means so much to us in the city. I was getting teary-eyed watching all the entrance into the city with the fire engines and all the greetings, and the mayor was at the game, and everything was so exciting. Particularly, I want to just recognize the four senior captains. Tracy would you raise your hand to everybody? One of the best scorers in the city, in the state. Lizzie Schuster, our catcher, she's amazing. The two of them have great chemistry. Jemima Groh, the other, one of the four captains, and you were amazing. And then our pitcher, Sydney McKay, was just incredible. So I'm looking forward to going back with the school committee and doing some more recognition with citations, but this was hot off the press and we just wanted to have you here because we are so proud of every one of you. It was just a great, great game and a great season, and the city is so proud of you. So great job.
Thank you, Councilor Gilman. Councilor O'Hara, you want to say a few words? Councilor O'Hara.
Yeah, I want to apologize. I'm the instigator of this problem tonight, but I thought the girls softball team deserved recognition. Didn't intend to put anyone out, so if anyone's nose is out of joint, get over it. They deserve I think, the respect, and congratulations. You did a wonderful job. You made the city proud. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Other councilors? Councilor Holmgren.
Great job, ladies. You make us proud. Thank you very, very much for representing our community in such a positive way.
Thank you. Councilor Memhard.
I'd just like to say that in my book, you are winners, and you're the best documented team, photographically, that we've ever had the honor of celebrating.
Thank you. Councilor Cox.
Thank you, ladies. It was a great year to follow, so thank you very much.
Councilor LeBlanc?
Congratulations, ladies. I know we have a bunch of Patriots and Red Sox and Bruins and all these championships, Celtics championships. I was in LA last week and I said I was from the Boston area, and I got so much crap from all the championships we've won. So, and I know when I leave Gloucester and I go out to any part of Massachusetts and I say I'm from Gloucester, we're recognized by our sports teams also, not just our great community, but all the things that we do, sports and everything else. So congratulations, and Gloucester proud.
Councilor Heck, do you have something to say?
I just want to say congratulations, and all the things that you've learned this season, all the camaraderie, all the teamwork, all the dedication, all the hard work. Keep that going through your entire lives, and remember your teammates and get together often. Congratulations.
So as you may have noticed, one of the things we do best here at City Council is talk. And if any of one of the co-captains wishes to say just a few words, would you like to do that? You don't have to. Well, I don't want to. I'd rather hear from the athlete. Go ahead. And Val, show her the mic and how to make sure she can be heard.
I can talk really loud. I don't even. All right. Well, my name's Elizabeth Schuster. I'm one of the co-captains of the Gloucester High School softball team. I've been on the team for 4 years, and this year by far has been one of the best seasons I've ever participated in, like whether it's club or like high school. This is one of the best teams I've ever been on. All these girls are my sisters. I love them all so much. It's just been such an honor to make my city proud. Even though we didn't get the outcome we wanted to, it still feels really good to have a city to fall back on. And thank you.
I'm Jemima Groh. I'm another captain, and I just really wanted to thank the City Council for having us here tonight. It was a great honor. Thank you very much, and also thank all of the entire city of Gloucester and everyone that came and supported us, even like social media and like just through Facebook and that came to our games. It was really great to have that support from our city, so we appreciated it a lot. Thank you.
Anyone else from the team? If not, Coach Nicastro, could you just wrap it up for us?
You can see how great our captains are so well spoken. To thank the City Council for having us here, parents, the support of many others throughout the city and the state, because we had a lot of the Northeastern Conference supporting us. I've coached a lot of different sporting teams, including back in the day with Terry Silva, helped him coach a couple of years at the high school, but like younger youth leagues and high school teams. And the senior leadership in this group is just absolutely, it's second to none. They define student athlete, and student does, it's not just something you say, student is first, athlete is second, because student, you're gonna pay bills with whatever degree or wherever you go in life. And these girls, the seniors that we have here, all have 90+ grade point averages. And they're just absolutely phenomenal. They lead by example, and it's not something we just say. They do it all the time. And on the bus ride home, Riley, can you step forward? Riley's a freshman, and she cried the whole entire way home. And it was because she realized that she was sitting next to me initially, and I said, "Do you want to sit back with the seniors?" And she shook her head, kind of yes and kind of no, because she was embarrassed. And she went back. She cried the whole way because she knew what she was losing. You don't get leadership like this, and this is what she knew that's what she was losing, is this type of leadership. I say thank you to the seniors, because it is by far the best teams that I've ever coached because of that. And to get the support of the city, and you just see how much it means to people. And another big good stat that we got from the coach of Winthrop, who's the longest tenured coach in our conference, is this is the third team in Northeastern Conference history to make the state final in softball, which is pretty incredible. So they took home a lot of hardware. We came up a little bit short, but I would come in second in a state final game anytime just to enjoy such a ride. And thank you to the city for the support, and the coaching staff, people I'll get the press, and without like coaches like Dom and Mark, and we have Gunnar Muth and Karina Keenan that help us out. Maisie actually got hurt a couple years ago, and without her, Lizzie never caught before last year, and Maisie pretty much turned her into the catcher that she is today. And having someone like Maisie help out a lot, and it's just absolutely incredible. So some people, when they get hurt, you don't see they go to PT and all that good stuff, and you'll see them on occasion, which is understandable. Maisie was at every single practice, and when she couldn't make a practice, she would text me and say, I can't make it today. And I would check on it just to make sure, because she was legit part of the coaching staff at that point. So thank you to all of the girls, and you guys taught us a lesson as well, because you guys are amazing in so many different areas.
Thank you very much, Coach. Anybody else? Jason wants everybody to move in a little bit more for the photo. Thank you. A big Gloucester round of applause for our softball team. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, coaches. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Okay. Yes?
I'm going to tell you, buddy.
Sean's not coming tonight. He's pulled his back out. We'll do oral communications.
Forever.
Thank you for coming. Really appreciate it. Thank you. You guys are great. Okay. Okay, next order of business, Madam Clerk.
Next order of business is oral communications.
So, oral communications. Public shall have the opportunity to, at every regularly scheduled meeting, to be heard under oral communications on matters not appearing on the agenda. Oral communications shall allow any resident who has a request or complaint of any nature relative to city business to appear before the council, state their problem without debate, and the matter shall be referred to the proper agency through the office of the mayor. The resident will be notified within a 2-week period relative to the disposition of same, and a copy shall be forwarded to the city council. Persons speaking under oral communication shall be limited to 3 minutes each, and the council president shall not allow complaints as to individual performance. So, is anyone here wishing to speak in oral communications? Yes, please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Caroline Haynes, Haines. I live at 13 Lincoln Avenue, and I would like to make a brief statement about my concern regarding the use of rodenticides in our community. According to the American Association of Poison Control Centers, in 2014, over 8,800 people were poisoned by anticoagulant rodenticides. The majority of them were children under the age of 6 and included 6 children who died. But people are not the only ones in danger from these rodenticides. These deadly poisons can take 10 days to kill an animal, which will continue to ingest the tasty poison until it becomes a stumbling, dying, or dead critter, easily caught and ingested by another animal, often one of our beautiful birds of prey, or perhaps someone's dog or cat. Second, and even tertiary poisoning of non-target animals is well documented in a wide range of animals, including owls, vultures, coyotes, cats, otters, and bald eagles. During nesting and denning season, adults can bring this deadly prey to their nest or den, poisoning their own young. This creates a vicious cycle of killing off our natural rodent control predators through the use of these deadly second-generation rodenticides. In 2015, the EPA banned the over-the-counter sale of these second-generation anticoagulant rodenticides, but did not ban their use by the pest control industry. Enforcement of the over-the-counter ban has been inconsistent, and the pest control companies continue to lace their bait stations with these weapons of mass destruction. As a well-known Canadian stated when debating the use of these deadly poisons, these rodenticides are the equivalent of using a sledgehammer when a fly swatter will do. There are other methods that are effective, including old-fashioned slap traps, first-generation anticoagulants, and innovative methods, such as installing raptor nesting boxes in areas heavily used by rodents. And as the city of San Francisco did with its Don't Take the Bait campaign, educating the public about the environmental impact of these poisons is of paramount importance, since they are still widely available to the public. Look carefully as you drive around town. You'll be surprised where you see professionally installed bait stations in plain sight. Last summer, some children I was supervising found an interesting rock to add to their play. It was a bait station, disguised as a rock. Luckily, I was supervising. In conclusion, I would urge you to devote some time to studying and making recommendations about this issue for our community. Second-generation anticoagulant rodenticides are overkill, and they are killing our natural rodent predators and spreading poison up the food chain. They could be the new DDT.
Thank you very much. Anyone else for oral communications? Please come forward, state your name and address.
My name is Gardner Winchester, 6'2" Veterans Way, Gloucester. I'm sorry I haven't written anything down. I'm going to wing it, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from. I'm an avid walker around Cape Ann. It's keeping me alive. And a lot of times I don't have time to go into Dogtown or into Southwoods and Rockport or somewhere else. So I'll walk around some of the ball fields in the local area. And a lot of times, and particularly around the ball fields that are adjacent to the Dr. Osmond Babson Road, the feeder road to the O'Malley School and the like, I will be walking around the batting cages there, and I will notice that trapped inside the batting cages are birds and other wildlife that can't get out. Last year, I think I extracted about 10 dead bird carcasses from there. I'm sure that no parent wants their child to go to the ballpark and find dead birds that they have to get out of there before they can use it. It just doesn't seem right to me. So I've tried several different directions to see if I can get the sports people who use these fields and whatnot, and I assume they're city property, to make sure that the batting cages and nets and whatnot are rendered as wildlife safe when they leave the area for the day or when they're through. And I've had no success. So I'm going to ask the city council to help and to ask if they can make some sort of resolution to ensure that the sports fields are left in a wildlife-safe way, so that animals are not of our city are not killed, or our kids don't have to see that neither. And that's about all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gardner. Anyone else for oral communication? Yes, sir.
Reverend Richard Emanuel, 153 East Main Street. My communication is about what we're going through in East Gloucester. I have been the minister at the church for 51 years, so I'm speaking from experience as to watching the patterns that have taken place in East Gloucester. We have, in a sense, we're under siege. What we want is a working waterfront, a balanced development, and the difficulty is how do we achieve that without losing the character of Gloucester and East Gloucester. The biggest problem is the defining interest is all about profits. The noise levels in East Gloucester, the timing and so forth, All of that stuff in truck delivery should be regulated. The city must keep it functioning so that the residents who are peripheral to the area can get their night's sleep, can have their children safe, and so forth. I talked with a person this morning in the freezer plant behind us. I heard it myself. There was a delivery of trash being taken out at 4:45 in the morning. Now, people are trying to get their kids get up, go to school, and so forth. This is all dysfunctional. There's no reason why they cannot function according to the city's own prerogatives that they have set. The other problem is, if we don't get a functional harbor, we are going to then be functional to be pushed into a decision, does the waterfront become condominiums? And there's all this property that's lying low that people are waiting to cash in, and the big problem is, how do we prevent Gloucester from succumbing into total gentrification? This is, progress should be quality of life, but evidently the going interest is how much can we make? So I put together a pamphlet that'll go out. There's 10 of these. Also, I want to say the connection between, have you read the House Bill 3507 from the governors? This is a dynamite stick, because it now changes from a 2/3 majority down to a simple majority. And when you change to a simple majority, you have the real problem of what is called majority rule over the interests of the minority. It just becomes one function. So this is just the beginning of our complaints. We're going to use the 2-minute reference point to bring this to your attention, and hopefully we can work out a problem and we can bring it together. So I'll pass these out.
Thank you. You can give them to Dana. Thank you very much, Richard, for your time. Appreciate that. Anyone else for oral communication? Name and address, please. I'm going to give them to Dana. Linda Amiro.
Hi, Linda Amiro, 3 Stanwood Terrace in East Gloucester. I want to talk tonight about the fairly new lobster bait company that's located in the old Mooney's site, Bob's Clam Shack site, across the street from where I live. Many of us neighbors are having an issue with the noise situation there. They're a very successful business that has grown very fast. They are working almost around the clock. My main issue, and I, as I said, live across the street. I'm not my friend who lives right next door to them. But what the issue is that the backup beeper on the forklift and the trucks that are backing up to load and unload. It's happening into the night and early morning hours, starting sometimes 3 a.m. I didn't notice it so much in the winter because we have our doors and windows closed, but I have a big 12-foot sliding door that looks out onto the harbor that I love to enjoy all summer, and I'm literally getting like a Chinese water torture from the backup beeper. We have brought it to the attention of Scott, who was nice enough to go over and visit with them. It's all documented here. I just want to say that it's not only noise, it's the bright lights that they've put up. I love the fact that it's a young couple who are running this wonderful business on the harbor, which is what we all want. But this isn't the old days. These guys are, like slamming over there. And they're really disrupting us. I can't have a nap. I can't have my windows open at night. Also, the new factor is, I noticed this past weekend, Major Gurry, it's a bait company. It's a lobster and a bait company. Not to mention the refrigeration trucks that are going 24 hours a day that are right next door to my friend who lives right there. But my problem is the noise. I even called OSHA today to see if there was any way they're allowed to muffle their backup beeper. And of course, they're not. That's against the law. It would make life so much better. I do understand that they're growing fast and they might be looking for new space. But in the meantime, I was advised to monitor their activities ever since Scott's visit on June 5th, which I've done here. And you can see that it's disruptive. It wakes me up every single morning. And I don't know if there's anything we can do, if there's a noise ordinance, or what the situation is. I'd love to be able to work with these people. I did try to contact them, but I couldn't get the phone number. I haven't physically walked across the street. But anything anyone can recommend to me, I mean, I really can't live in my house. I'm going crazy. So that's my situation. I thank you for hearing this. And anything you can advise me to do or do about it would be great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Linda. Anyone else for oral communication? Please state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
My name is Lauren French, and I live at 183 East Main Street. I want to carry on a little bit more about the noise issue at 159 East Main Street, which has been ongoing for more than 2.5 years on the record, and almost 10 years in a conversation with them directly. We've had some successes in controlling the noise with cooperation through the Board of Health and through some of the counselors here in helping guide communication. With the new, I can't tell you how delighted we were, and I know many people feel the opposite when National Fish closed their doors, because we could then suddenly now use parts of our house that we could not use before. We abandoned the left side of our house that faces the building for non-sleeping and more casual use. But really what I want to address is Section 13 of the code and how the administrator, which is the building inspector, has given a lot of leeway on penalties that can be assessed. Carol and the Board of Health in 2012 did a study with DEP, and a recorded study, which was filed with the Board of Health, that identifies that they're in violation. That was in 2012 in February. And to this day, they're still out of violation. They're in violation of the code, Section 13.5. But the code also allows some flexibility by the building inspector as the administrator to give some time for them to make repairs. It's been 820 days that no penalty has been assessed for the noise violation. The minimum in Section 1313 is $100 per day violation, up to $300. Translated, that's about $82,000 we've not collected in reasonable fines. Or, if you want to look at the 300 today, that's $246,000. And as a taxpayer, that kind of makes me upset that we allowed that much flexibility. 820 days, not a week, not a month, over 2 years. And they're still in violation, and they haven't paid a dime. Meanwhile, my sidewalks are a mess. There's all sorts of things that the city could use that money. But it's not so much that, it's the freedom with the rules that seem to be violating our rights as citizens surrounding the plant, which these fines are designed to enforce, expedite the cure for it. But there are no fines, so there is no incentive to make change. No fines, no problem. So I would like the mayor, I would like the city council to look into Section 13, to look into the amount of flexibility that the city has given that building over the last 2.5 years since the Board of Health filed a report that they're in violation, and look at the numbers. and find some way to set fire to getting this thing done, because we can't sleep at night. And the sound that penetrates, our windows are down. You know the whole story. I'm sure you've heard it. But it's mostly about the enforcement. And, these are rules that we have established, that the city council made this. And I would like to see it enforced.
Great.
For the city, for all of the residents.
So, Lauren, listen, thank you very much. We appreciate what you're talking about. I think all of us are aware of that, and we will make sure that we do the right thing.
Okay.
So,
thank you for listening.
Anyone else for oral communication? Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Neil Costa, 134 East Main Street. As you all know, I've been here several times regarding the same noise issue from the former Americold facility and what is now National Fish and Seafood. I mean, this is an embarrassment. This complaint was made over 2 years ago. I have 2 children that go to Gloucester schools, and the noise is excessive. At the time, Americold did a study, paid for a study from Aspen Tech, that found that they were in violation. There was another study after they made modifications. They were found in violation. The new owners have done assessments of the noise level. They're in violation. As Lauren mentioned, there's already an ordinance here. This isn't us getting creative and making up a reason to complain. There is a violation. It needs to be enforced. It's exhausting. The actual level of noise is disruptive. It's unfair. And when it comes down to, we've had progress in the sense that the city committed to enforcing the truck delivery times, and that has recently been backed off. Well, they just went bankrupt, right? Now they're back in business. Cut them a break. That's ridiculous. If someone owned a business and was given free rein to violate whatever laws, rules, and ordinances, then that's not okay. The rules are in place already. We're not asking you to do something extreme. I own a business in town. I employ 35 people. If I was to, violate the law every single day or violate an ordinance every single day, I should be reprimanded and put back into the box and operate under the conditions that the city has declared reasonable. So I think that this is really just enough. We sat in a meeting with several local citizens and councilors Memhard and O'Hara with the mayor. She agreed to shut it down if they did not comply. I don't know why that hasn't happened. I agree with Lauren. The economic missed opportunity for fines. That's how you enforce laws and ordinances. So, just do the right thing and make this happen. I think that a lot of people in the city have heard us and taken the time and afforded us many opportunities, and we just need you to push it over the edge and make it happen. You're all for businesses in town, but this is sad. So I'd appreciate action and enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Neil. Anyone else for oral communication? Good. Okay, next item is we're going to take out of order. We're going to do the 3 confirmation of new appointments next. That will take very short time before we get to the presentation. So, Councilor LeBlanc, over to you.
Thank you. Council President just said we have 3 quick appointments. The first one is the Council on Aging, Rosalina Castro. Rosalie can't be here this evening. We all know who she is. She was one of our public health agents for years. On a motion, Ordinance Administration voted unanimously to recommend that the City Council appoint Rosalina Castro to the Council on Aging, term to expire 2/14/22, and I so move.
Moved and seconded. Any other comment?
That's it. Rosalie's a steward to our city. She's been in the health department for many, many years, and she's looking to help guide our Council on Aging. So I'm in favor for it.
Okay. Anybody else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next.
Next, we have the Gloucester Cultural Council. Ordinance Administration voted unanimously to recommend that the City Council appoint Shayla Kaufman Swigert to the Gloucester Cultural Council, term to expire 2/14/20, and I so move.
Moved and seconded.
She's not able to be here this evening also. She had a very impressive meeting at Ordinance Administration, and we voted to support her.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And next?
The Tourism Commission, Jennifer Goulart-Amiro. Ordinance Administration voted unanimously to recommend that the City Council appoint Jennifer Goulart-Amiro to the Tourism Commission, term to expire 2/14/21, and I so move.
Go ahead.
Yep. Oh, Jen's here today. Can you just stand up and wave so we know who you are?
Okay.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks.
Jen has been in the hospitality business her whole life, lifelong resident of Gloucester, lifelong friend of mine, and I think she's an asset to this committee, and I'm going to support her fully.
Great. Anybody else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Jen. Thank you, all three, for stepping up and serving our city. Okay, next order of business, Madam Clerk.
Is the City Council commendation to Ainsley Smith.
Okay, City Council, Ainsley, you are here. Thanks for coming. We appreciate that. Councilor Holmgren, would you mind, one note that this was something the councilors wanted to all do to recognize not just Ainsley, but all of our people who are working on behalf of our environment in our city, and it's appropriate that we're giving this commendation to you tonight, Ainsley, with the plastic straw ban ordinance coming up. So, Councilor Holmgren, would you read our citation for Ainsley?
I would be happy to. Be it hereby known to all that the Gloucester City Council commends Ainsley Smith, whereas Ainsley Smith has served on the Gloucester Clean City Commission for 3 years and has served as chair of the commission. Whereas Ainsley Smith, during her time as chair, has led the commission to organize and direct volunteer efforts to keep the city beautiful, to keep the mayor and the appropriate city departments informed of the maintenance and beautification needs of public property, and to create programs and policies to further those goals. Whereas during her tenure, Ainsley Smith and the Commission have organized and encouraged programs such as the Great Gloucester Cleanup on Earth Day, the Annisquam River Cleanup, the Sidewalk Butler and Skimmy Gibbler programs, and has partnered with Change is Simple to bring the message of environmental stewardship to the Gloucester elementary schools. Whereas Ainsley Smith and the Clean City Commission were significant partners with the City Council to pass our polystyrene and plastic bag ban ordinances. Now, therefore, the Gloucester City Council, on behalf of the citizens of Gloucester, extends its deep gratitude to Ainsley Smith for her service to the City of Gloucester, which will continue to have a positive impact on the city's quality of life. Signed this 25th day of June, 2019.
So, Ainsley, as I said to the softball team, what we do here best is talk. Do you want to talk? Would you? Well, would you come up and have a photo with us, please? Well, let's do that. Counselors, can we just move around and have a photo? And Jen, you can give that to Ainsley in the photo. Right in front of the dais. Next order of business, presentation about Riverfest. Jill, do you want to introduce?
This is not even looking. Jill.
I know.
Just for the record, Councilor Nolan has thrown his back out again tonight, so he is here in spirit, but not physically. So, Jill Cahill, our Community Development Director, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. President, and through you to the council. Good evening. I'm happy to be here tonight to talk to you about the upcoming Riverfest and Seaside Music Festival, which we're thrilled to be working with 92.5 The River on. It's coming up on August 24th. We have worked closely with the river as well as the city team, including the police, the fire department, the building department, the DPW, emergency management director, and the harbor master to thoughtfully plan through this process and get prepared for this event. I'll go through some of the highlights. I know you'll have a lot of questions, so then Donald St. Sauveur, who's the general manager for the river, can walk us through some of that. He'll show you kind of an aerial map of what it's going to look like, and he can answer some of the questions. They've been doing it for 17 years in Newburyport. And then I also asked, we have the police chief here, the fire chief here, and Mark Cole from DPW, so who I thought were most likely the other questions. So in case you have any of those. I think some of the questions I expected out of you and some highlights, so you know we have taken very seriously the comments we've heard so far. We also did attend the Stage 4 Park Advisory Committee, and they have decided to support this event. They're excited about the idea of a free event that's open to families. And so I was thrilled to have their support. I know that that's something that's near and dear. The use of the park is their mission. So it was a great conversation, and we learned a lot as well. And I also talked to them that we'll come back after the event and listen to any feedback they have so we can make improvements. So some of the highlights, obviously parking and traffic is a big concern, so we've been working hard on that. We have 3 satellite parking areas established. One is Magnolia Woods, one is O'Malley, and one is the Gloucester High School. One of the goals, obviously, is to not have to come back and forth over the Cup Bridge as much as possible. So we'll be running shuttle services specifically from O'Malley and Mag Woods, and then Gloucester High School is walking distance, so we're hoping to use that. All parking revenue is retained by the city, so we have the potential to make somewhere between $10,000 and $23,000 in parking that day. We will be charging at the satellite sites as well. Cleanup, obviously cleanup is a concern for people. That was the biggest concern out of the mayor's office. We will have 2 DPW staff there for the entire event, emptying barrels as we go. We really want to avoid barrels filling up and people beginning to leave garbage around. We know the seagulls are an issue, so we're going to be picking up throughout the day, and then a crew of 6 coming on right at the end of the concert at 6 p.m. to do a thorough clean of the park. All of which, by the way, the river, we're working with the river, and they're going to be paying for all these details and extra employees that day. The police, and you'll hear more of this from all of them, we're going to have 8 to 10 officers on detail, including traffic, at both ends of Hoe Ave there, and fire and EMS will have 2 EMTs and 1 incident commander officer, as well as a setup command post. So we've all been working, as well as a harbor master detail on the water. We have really great expectations for what the attention this is going to bring to the city. Our tourism board, Discover Gloucester, is in full support. The restaurants and hotels are thrilled to have people coming into Gloucester. As we all know who live here, you come here once for an afternoon, you fall in love, you come for a day, you come for a weekend, and next thing you know, you're coming for a week. So we believe that is going to be the case with this event. We think it's the perfect location. It's, I think, 4 times the size of the park that they've been using in Newburyport. So we're excited about that. I think I will, and then sound. I'll just touch on that briefly. I know that that's a concern with some of the neighbors. We will be doing a sound check on Friday. Anyone who wants to listen is welcome to come. And so we'll get a sense of that early on. It is not, if you're familiar with the river, it is not loud music per se. We are expecting a crowd in the age group from probably 30 to 50 families. It's not really a loud music type of concert. So it's really a free day for all to come and enjoy the park. The park is open for business that day. People can come. If you have a beach sticker, if you have a parking sticker, you come into the parking lot and you park for free the way you would any other day. So we're really looking forward to it. And sorry, I want to make sure Donald has this. I want to introduce Donald St. Sauveur. I've known Donald for over 10 years. In my previous employment with the event company, I worked closely with Donald. They've been doing the tents for the river for probably 15 years. Yeah. The event company is a local tent company, so I feel confident that because I know, because we've been together for a long time. This is a professional situation, and I'm not worried about any of the organizational details because we are really thinking through all of it. And we'll go through, I'll let him go through some, and then if you have questions, we're happy to answer them.
Hi, I'm Donald St. Savra. I'm the general manager of 92.5 The River in Haverhill. Council President, thank you. Council, thank you for having me here. Through the wonderful technology of Google Earth, I thought I'd give you a little bit of an idea of the layout. I know Ringo over the years has had a particular layout for the Blues and Country Festival that's very familiar to many of you. We're actually changing that layout a little bit, and I thought I'd share that with you. So may I do that? We've mapped the entire park, if this comes up, through Google Earth and used GPS coordinates and actually physically measured the entire park. As Jill said, in Newburyport for the last 16 years, we were dealing with a park that was about 2.7 acres. We have about 8.8 acres that we're using in this. This has just been turned into a festival map, which is actually just an overlay specifically with the exact distances. I thought I'd give you, with this mouse, a little bit of an idea of where everything is going to be. The stage is 60 by 40 by 30 feet high and will be in center field in front of the large tree. The sound will be hung from 2 side wings and projected back towards home plate and the bold area towards the bandstand. There are sponsor areas on first base and on third base, a VIP reception tent. There are also other activation areas. Lion Wah, for example, is having their own VIP tent. This entire area, more towards Tablet Rock, is open for fans and festival attendees. The entire area from the bandstand, which is actually going to be sponsored as Gorton's Gazebo as one of the sponsors of the festival, is open for attendees to sit on the bank. It's about 150 yards from the bank to the stage, the front of the stage. We have a 16-foot by 9-foot electronic HD screen that it's going to be above the drum riser with robotic cameras so that you can actually see from farther away, so there'll be close-ups of the band. So if you are a little bit farther away from the stage and choose to be, you'll still be able to see everything. The sound was designed to be sent backwards towards the gazebo or the bandstand in the bold area as opposed to projecting out to sea. Most of the sponsor activation areas are to stage right. There are 7 rows of sponsor tents here. There are about 21 tents, pop-up tents and sponsors. Fidelity is going to have a kid zone with some inflatables and also an interactive, their 529U fund, so they have an interactive area. The volleyball court will remain open. There's handicap and public porta potties that are going to be set up in the back portion. As you enter into Huff Avenue, which is going to be one way, and I'll let the police detail a little bit more about the traffic mitigation plans and parking. We have plans at the tourist, the information center to have the CADA, limo, Uber, and Lyft meeting there. There will be a EMT, fire, and police quadrant area over here. More restrooms. Local area food trucks will be on both sides of the gravel. There'll be a car display from a New England Chevy dealers in the very, very beginning. I would say 1/3 of the businesses are from Gloucester and the immediate Cape Ann area. Another 1/3 are from the North Shore, the immediate area. And the remaining 1/3 of the sponsors are regional or national advertisers like Fidelity, New England Chevrolet, and a few others of that sort. Participation and reception from area businesses has been overwhelming, and we are almost sold out. We only have 3 spaces left for the event as of this date. So the feedback's been really enormously exciting for our team, as has the response of the entire community. And that's all I have for you. So other than that, if you'd like to ask questions, or Jill, I can turn it over to you.
Sure. If you just stay right there. We'll start Councilor Holmgren first, then Councilor Cox.
What time is the sound check on Friday?
We're anticipating there won't be an actual band. We'll be playing an, MP3 through the speaker system. We're anticipating before 5 p.m., so we're hoping somewhere between 4:30 and 5 p.m.
Councilor Cox? Did you guys give the dates and times of the activities?
Yeah, so we call it the big reveal because obviously there's a lot of anticipation and excitement. It's the world's worst kept secret that it's moving to Stage 4 Park in Gloucester, but our 500,000 listeners do not know the lineup. That will be announced both on air and through a coordinated press campaign of social media, web, email on Wednesday at 5 p.m. on July 10th, and it will be promoted ongoing right up to the day of the event.
No, my question was, what dates will the fest be, and what are the hours of operation?
Great. It's on festival setup is from 1 to 6 p.m. on Friday, August 23rd, and the festival itself, the music will occur from noon to 6 p.m. with a hard stop at 6 p.m. The festival will be, the remaining sponsors will set up in the morning from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. We're expecting to be fully operational with inspection with fire, police, and EMTs by 10 a.m. that morning.
Thank you. Other councilor questions? Councilor Hecht? What? Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. What was the attendance on the most successful year in Newburyport, and what do you expect the attendance to be here?
Great question. They estimated that the largest amount of people that we had was last year. The Bare Naked Ladies performed, and we had 3 other acts. Estimates ranged between 10 and 15,000. I would say that was generous. I don't believe in Waterfront Park you can hold more than 5,000 people sitting in chairs and sitting on blankets. Were there 10 to 15,000 people in the city of Newburyport that day? I believe that, because State Street was crowded. They had 2,400 seats in bars, taverns, and restaurants, and it was busy. We would be really pleased if 5,000 people came this year. We're prepared to have 10,000 people from the perspective. It could hold 20,000. I think a reasonable expectation this year is somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 people.
Councilor Cox.
Now that Ken's asked my question. Where are you going to put all the cars?
That's a great question.
We don't have enough parking for that. And the Waterfront Festival, which is a quarter of the size of your event and expected attendance, tends to illegally park on 133, and we have complaints and accidents, 127. And so I'm just, where are we putting all the cars?
I'll share with you what I know, and I know Mark Cole and the police chief can answer a little bit more fully. I believe there are approximately 950 spaces at Stage 4 Park, which will be made available to the event. 150 at Magnolia, 150 at the high school, 250 at O'Malley. To put it in perspective, in Newburyport, we had 800 parking spaces in what was known as NRA Lot West and NRA Lot East, and we had approximately 1,800 satellite parking spaces in 4 different lots. Similar at the train station, 2 different elementary schools. We had similar scenario where we had 4 school buses running every 15 minutes from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. The train station in Newburyport was approximately 1.1 miles from the venue. I believe the train station here is about a little over a mile. The vast majority of attendees in Newburyport, as I would suspect in Gloucester, are city residents. I believe the vast majority of people coming to this event will be from Gloucester, Annisquam, Magnolia, Manchester by the Sea, Rockport. This is not an exodus coming up from Boston. 2/3 of the river's 500,000 listeners live in the North Shore. So the vast majority of the people we're going to be talking to are the converted. They are the residents. I just think it's a greater likelihood that Cape Ann residents are going to attend this festival than they would have attended in Newburyport. I don't anticipate a lot of Newburyport and the other Amesbury West Newbury, Georgetown, I don't believe they're heading over this year. I think this is going to be your event and uniquely residential to this community.
Other councilor questions? Councilor Gilman.
I don't know if you've thought of this, but would it be possible to talk to the MBTA to find out about the train schedules and making sure that there's busing from the train station to Stage 4 Park as another alternative instead of cars for people that, as you said, might be coming from Manchester or Beverly?
It's a wonderful suggestion, and part of the outreach and responsibility of the radio station having a 50,000 watt megaphone is to create a website that's also an app so that people who want to come to the area who've never been know alternative means, whether that's walking, whether that's biking, whether that's taking CADA, whether it's taking the train. So we would love to work in conjunction both with Jill and her team on making sure that that's well publicized so that if you do want to take the train and come to town and walk, you do. Our experience has been about 10 to 15% of the Newburyport attendees stated that they had come by train, the most last year than they've ever had. And it coincided with us talking about it a lot.
Councilor Memhard?
Sounds like a great event. Looking forward to it already. Can you speak about how the water sheet will be able to engage with this event? Do you anticipate there will people be out on their boats being able to hear your performers?
No. Candidly, sounds really direct, but you will not be able to see the performance from your boat. You'll be able to see the festival in all its glory. The sound is going to be projected, as I mentioned, back towards the bowl. And there is protective shielding that covers the back of the stage. It's black vinyl, both from a wind and from a rain perspective. It is a rain or shine show. So it would be very, very difficult to see or to truly hear a lot from a boat. And I know that'll be disappointing to a lot of people. I understand that it's already, again, the world's worst kept secret. I think the harbor master has already mentioned that moorings are already high demand. But it will be low tide at noon. It would be easy to moor your boat, maybe walk in, swim in, and enjoy the festivities. But to answer your question, it would be different than Ringo's productions. Good.
Just to add to that, so I didn't ask TJ to be here. Sorry, I didn't know if this would be a big one. As he said, the moorings for that area are already secured, already reserved. They have a patrol out in the area to make sure, because of it's kind of dangerous to drop anchor in that area, so they're going to be watching that closely. We do anticipate some people swimming in and things like that, so the harbor master team is looking at that closely and working on it. So we're fully prepared for that, and again, at the cost of the river, we'll be covering that detail as well.
Anybody else for? So I do have a couple of questions for our city staff, Jill, and thank you very much. And maybe if you wouldn't mind just having a seat for a second. So tell us about the traffic and the parking and how that's going to work, because one of the concerns that we all have is that people coming to the festival will be trying to get to the festival in their car. And we don't want them to do that. We want them to go to these satellite lots. How is that going to work? And how are we going to make sure that we don't have a lot of people just driving down to Stage 4 Park to try and find a place there?
I'll try, and if you want more from the chief, I'm happy to. He's here to come up also. So as Donald said, I think the number one way to prevent that is using their, I think he called it 50 megawatt megaphone. So the number one way is getting the information out to the public, right? And we know that they are experts in marketing and communication. We know that our resources will be at the full disposal to get this information out as well. So our social media, our website, we will be running things both in print media. So it's really about communication and getting that information out. For people who do come and show up in their car, we will have a traffic cop, we'll have cops, traffic detail on either end, and that's why we decided to do the one way, so that to try to prevent too much traffic congestion, both turning in and turning out. And I think the other concern was the parking on 127. We're going to be posting, we're working with the police to be posting the no parking signs the night before. We did specifically hear, that was one of the concerns at Stage Fort Park, that during Waterfront Festival, people park there illegally and it's dangerous. So these are all concerns that come up also with Waterfront Festival, and I think we're in a better position than they are to get the information out to the users. I think festival goers, I recently was in New Orleans for the Jazz Fest, festival goers now really understand the use of the app. They follow the directions. We're specifically locating place for Uber, Lyft, all of the above with that as well. So hopefully people using that type of transportation will all have those drivers will know where they're supposed to be as well. So it's really about communication and getting the information out to the public. And I think we have a radio station is the best partner to do that with. So I feel confident.
Right, but we have never, I shouldn't say never, we have not very often wanted people to park at Magnolia Woods or O'Malley School. So
right, that'll, again.
Get them, how do we get them, I mean, how do we physically do that? I mean, apps are one thing, but
right,
signage
and another, right, so it's all about information, which is what we talked about. But on top of that, I know, and this isn't set in stone yet, because I know Mark has pointed out that there are concerns, but the river is also willing to, if there is a way, if we need to rent the electronic signs, we don't want to divert our resources from the beaches. We understand that that's a priority. But the river is willing to, if it's an option, we have to work with DPW because it's a state highway and where we can put things. But we are talking about that concern as well, about diverting people. Really our goal is we want as many people coming off at exit 14 and coming down 133 or even before come through. We'd love for people to come through Magnolia and go out through Magnolia and have dinner up on Lexington Ave, so we were really going to try to divert people from coming downtown and going over the bridge unless they're going to O'Malley. So the concert goers will know in advance where the options are. If there are people in town that day who don't necessarily hadn't thought that, hadn't necessarily checked the app because they're like, oh, I'm just here and I'm going to go for it. That's going to be, obviously those people are harder to reach, but we'll do our best with our communication strategy. And that's really, that's our best effort. Because it's not a ticketed event, it's a free event to the public. We don't have direct access to reach these people.
No, we don't, but we're directly inviting 10 to 15,000 people, we'll pick the number, to come to town. Mm-hmm. And it's up to us to have the plan. And that's the thing that I think that's concerned councilors most, and that's what we hear, is so people driving into town get off at exit 14 and now they're at Stage Fort Park, and now what? I mean, we don't want them to go there. We want them to go to O'Malley or where do we want them to go? And I guess I'd like to hear from our city experts how they have thought that through, because I think that's been a missing link for, at least for councilors, as to how we thought that through.
Okay, so again, the only way to get that is public information, correct? And we're open to other suggestions if you have
No, I know about the
suggestions.
public information, but what's the physical plan?
The physical.
You want people to go to the high school,
Right.
to O'Malley, and to Magnolia
Right.
Woods, and there's
Right.
going to be shuttle buses.
Right.
I'm just paraphrasing because it's not. And so how do we get them to those locations?
Right.
How do they know that there's going to be shuttle buses? And how do we do that? And are we confident that we have a plan to do that?
We are confident in our plan, and we're open to your
We
suggestions.
haven't had that experience
Right,
before.
I understand.
Where does that confidence come from?
Yeah. Well, because these are professional people who have that same, they tackled that in Newburyport. Concert goers, again, you have to believe in the person you're inviting, right? A concert goer goes into an event wanting as much information as possible. But I understand your question completely, and that's why we're continuing to ask, because that goes beyond the putting signage further outside of Gloucester goes beyond us. We do have to work farther with other groups. Mark, if you'd like to hear from Mark on that, you're welcome to. But that's a piece that we will continue to work on. But signage outside of the city we have to work with the state on that. So we're working on that still.
So the signage on 128 will say, go to...
Event parking available at Gloucester High School, blah, 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 blah. But I can't tell you that's a definite tonight because that takes other entities to get approval from.
We're getting close to
I understand.
event time. I mean, again, these are the reason we asked you to come and talk to us is because these are the things that people are concerned about. I'm sure it's going to be a wonderful event, and we all love the river and everything, but we've not done this before.
Sure. Yeah, and we will learn lessons for sure. I have no doubt.
And, we have, the other concerns we have generally about the use of the park and the wear and tear on the park. That's a whole nother thing. But the confidence that we have as a city that we're going to manage this traffic, that's what we're concerned about.
And we would be happy to listen to you and hear from you if you feel like that we need more police
Actually,
detail.
it should work the other way around.
Well, I understand.
We would like to hear from you
Right, and
Mark Cole and the police chief. What is your plan? Because we haven't heard that yet.
Yeah.
So don't ask us for the plan. We would like to hear your plan.
Right.
And if you were working with the experts, so what's the experts' plan? We haven't heard that either.
Right.
It's just, we're going to put it on something on the apps, and the concert goers, they're really compliant people, and they'll just find their way to the right place. Jill, please. So we'd like to hear your plan, and if you don't have it tonight, we'd like you to come back when you do have it, because this is a big concern.
I understand, Council President. And as I said, we will have traffic cops at both of the entrances to the park, and we will discuss further if there should be police detail elsewhere. I understand.
By the time the people in their cars get down to the entrance of the park, it's too late. Now they're there where we don't want them. So that's my
understand.
concern.
We will take that into consideration and add it to our planning list. And happy to come back.
Yes, Councilor Gilman.
I've got just another thought of something that you might want to think of considering. I'm sure there are going to be numerous weddings and big events that day. So I was wondering if maybe you could proactively notify all the venues that we have in town for weddings and make sure that their guests are aware that there could be extra traffic in coming to town, because I know I would be pretty disappointed if I was getting married and half my guests were stuck in traffic on 128 or something. So it's just another way that they might be able to notify their guests proactively and not be upset.
Sure, of course, thank you. We already have reached out to the area accommodations because we were obviously hoping and talking to them about what their thoughts were and could they house some of the musical guests and all that, but I will follow up specifically about weddings. We do know Cape Ann Marina has a wedding that night, and I believe the Beauport does too, but so I will follow up with that specific information. Thank you.
Other councilors? The other plan that we haven't heard from you guys yet, and we expect to, is the restoration of the park after this is all over. We have a huge issue with another event called Cyclocross, where, their promises to us to put the park back the way it was are seldom met. Mm-hmm. So what's the plan here with the river, and how confident are we in that plan? This is going to take up the whole ball field, which I believe does get some use in the summertime by ball players. So
right.
What's our plan on restoration of the park?
So that is also a piece that came up. We just had our second or third meeting the other day. So I specifically went to the Stage Fort Park Advisory Council for that reason. Asked them if they had concerns about the use of the park. Their opinion was that these are park goers. Park is meant to be used by people in chairs and blankets and such. So that was not a concern. We discussed whether or not, my understanding is, and I'll let Mark speak to this, is if you want more details, but there's like a bond issue or insurance type thing with the cyclocross, but it's a very completely different type of impact. Agreed, there is an impact. So as I said, they did not feel like that was a concern specific of theirs, but we are discussing still at this point should we consider an option like that as well. Do you want details from Mark on what they do for the cyclocross on that?
No, I know what they do on cyclocross. Okay. I'm asking about this event here.
Yeah, it is a very different type of impact. We do not expect that type of impact. We've kept food trucks to the road. We've specifically kept things and vehicle traffic on roadways for that reason.
Councilor Cox?
Thank you. I find it very intriguing that the advisory committee is okay with the amount of vehicles being put on the property when they have a problem with the farmers market and their vehicles on the property. So I mean, I'd like to see, not that we want to take up any more parking spots, but I would like to see the car display, or, you know, maybe not set up on the grass. Just, I mean, part of the communication we're receiving from the advisory group is vehicles on the grass.
Right.
And in this instance, we're putting a lot of vehicles on the grass. Waterfront Festival, when it's rained, there's ruts way worse than the cyclocross after the facts, because they put so many vehicles on the grass.
Right.
So, I mean, the impact to this facility is going to be weather dependent.
Absolutely,
A lot.
yep.
So,
And I'm happy, you know, we're happy to, like I said, I understand if, that you asked us to come to you with our plan. The whole goal of this is to get feedback from you, so we can go back and continue to perfect that plan. That's how planning for events works, and we are happy to take all that feedback and listen and make changes. So we'll definitely take that into consideration. As I said, we really tried to focus it to where that activity is already happening, as you can see, so not to
right. I mean,
to
you're
not to
definitely
affect
in
a
line
new
with
area
the
in
same
that way.
footprint as farmers market and everything, and I do appreciate that. I appreciate you guys being here tonight. I know this is a working and very fluid plan. I was one of the ones that initially had asked for more information because of the influx of concern that I received to the impact of the park, the impact to the neighborhood as far as traffic and everything. I have faith that DPW and the police department will be able to manage the traffic. Is it going to be 100% great? No. This is a huge learning curve for the city of Gloucester. Could have huge benefits. It could not. So
We will learn. Thank
we
you, and I
will
appreciate your support and understanding.
definitely regroup after and
Absolutely.
talk about pros and cons in future. So,
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Cox. Anybody else? Councilor O'Hara.
Thank you. I don't know, Jill, if you want to answer this or the chief. But as Councilor Cox mentioned, the traffic, or more importantly, the people who reside within the park, Crowell Ave, Georgia, and the surrounding roads, as Councilor Lundberg, they face this with cyclocross annually, and they do not like, they can't, their lives are put on hold. How can we be assured that parking in front of their homes, they are, I believe, a number of them are private ways, that they will be able to survive that day? Because obviously people are going to be looking for parking spaces. Apparently there will be a shortage, and no one likes to park in satellite parkings. We know that, that's a given. We're also faced with athletic fields where, by the sounds of it, we're shutting down Magnolia Woods for the day for satellite parking. Have the people who use those parks, we lost Fuller School, so we're down a park, athletic field. All these things need to be taken. It's great for the city, but some of the others within the city don't feel the same. So I hope that we're taking that into consideration. The neighbors, again, I don't know, the chief being new to Gloucester, he's being inundated with traffic. This is new to him, but these are real issues. Kent Circle is an absolute nightmare on every weekend in the summer. One way, Bond Street, cars going down Bond Street. The neighbors, there are children on Bond Street. Everyone's looking for a shortcut. It's inevitable we're going to have traffic all over.
Absolutely. There's
But
going to be traffic in town that day.
We just have to make sure we have proper police signage. As far as the beach advisory, we've asked that the sign be moved south on the northbound side. I don't know if, as far as signage, right now that sign is at 133 Essex Ave, which is the spot for obviously access to Stage 4. It doesn't give them much opportunity to make plans, to change their plans as they're driving down 128 at 55 miles an hour. So again, as Councilor Lundberg said, we have to answer the complaints.
Absolutely.
And we
As-
see the complaints coming already.
There will be traffic
I agree
that
with
day.
Council Lundberg, possibly revisiting this, coming back to us with a better plan or more details in your plans.
Related to traffic. I'm happy to, again, traffic is going, we know there's going to be traffic. I don't know if the chief wants to step in on that and what his plan details are.
Good evening, councilors. Thank you for having me here. I guess I'd rather take an under-promise, over-deliver approach to traffic. There's, as you know, better than I do, there's only so many ways to get to Stage Ford Park. But having said that, Lieutenant Fitzgerald is going to be the incident commander. He's got years and years of experience dealing with events there and feels confident that we will be able to handle any problems. But at the beginning of the event, and probably when it clears out, yeah, it's going to be busy. We'll have 10 police officers assigned to the event, and we'll have the officers that are working that shift additionally. And we'll also have the parking enforcement present to kind of hit some of those areas where we see people parking illegally.
Great. So, Ed, just before you leave, Councilor Holmgren? Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
I would like to thank the councilors for their lines of questioning, but I'd also like to say this is an unconventional event. It is a really good opportunity for Gloucester to showcase our beauty and everything that is positive about us in a way that we've never been able to do before because it was Newburyport's territory until now. So I appreciate community development and the DPW and the police department working together to come up with a safe plan. As somebody who lives on 133, I've been thinking a lot about what the traffic is going to look like on August 24th, but we have other events in the community that take up a good amount of road space and police effort, like the Horribles Parade, Fiesta, and we cope just fine with those. So, as Jill said, we're going to learn lessons from this, I'm sure, but I'm hoping that this will be a positive gain for Gloucester in the aggregate.
Thanks. Any other counselor? Jill, I just wanted to thank you for doing this. We really appreciate the information. Obviously, we get a lot of questions and we don't have all the information that you do, and we know it's a work in progress, and thanks for keeping us tuned in. And we would like to hear again before the event that, because I think what's going to happen when the River lets their 500,000 listeners know, there's going to be a lot more buzz about this. There's no buzz right now. Once there's buzz, then some of these questions might come into clearer focus. So we'd appreciate an update sometime before the event. And thank you so much for arranging for
We will
this.
specifically look into those two areas that you talked to us about,
Okay.
and we'll send communication through the clerk to you all. And again, we're here, we're continuing to work on it. We understand that this is new for Gloucester, but we think it's going to be a great day. We feel confident in our team, and I want to thank all of the city managers who are working on this. Everybody's embraced it and approached it with a really positive attitude.
Right.
And I appreciate it. That makes it a lot more fun to work on. And thank you all for listening, and we'll come back with more whenever you want to see us.
We want to thank the city managers too. We appreciate your time on this. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item of business.
Thank you, Council.
Next item of business is the consent agenda.
Yes, the consent agenda. I wanted to know if any councilors want to remove anything from the consent agenda. I would like to remove from the mayor's report, item number 3, informational document from Director of Public Health regarding community water fluoridation. I'd like to remove that. Anybody else? Anything else? With that removal, motion to accept the consent agenda. So moved. Second. Okay, the reason I asked for this is in the mayor's report, vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. No, thank you. Okay. In the mayor's report, the document, enclosure 3 is described as follows: is a document prepared by Karen Carroll, Public Health Director, regarding community water fluoridation. the document that was attached doesn't have any attribution at all. It's a listing of facts. It doesn't say it's from Karen Carroll to the City Council. It doesn't say anything. My concern is that we have a matter before the City Council involving the fluoridation of water. I'm not sure why this list of so-called facts is before us. If it is the administration's intention or Karen Carroll's intention to submit a document to the City Council in the matter of the fluoridation that's before us, then this document should be properly framed. It should be a memo from Karen to the Council, and it should properly reference that proceeding, because we've got a live matter before us. So that's why I removed this from the mayor's report. I don't know if councilors feel one way or the other. I just like to send it back to the mayor and have her and Karen decide what they want to do about this, if they want to resubmit it. And if it is in connection with the matter that's before us, then we should refer it to O&A. That's where the matter resides right now. So if everybody's okay with that, we'll do that? Okay, thank you very much. Do I need a motion for that? Yes. Okay, motion, so moved. Second. Second moved. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Okay, next item of business, Madam Clerk.
Is the Budget and Finance Standing Committee report of June 20th.
Councilor Cox.
Thank you very much. Budget and Finance voted unanimously to recommend that the City Council accept a grant for $84,557 from the Massachusetts Executive Office for Administration and Finance, Community Compact, Cabinet Efficiency, and Regionalization Grant Program, and I so move.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, Councilor.
The Health Department has been awarded $84,557 for a Community Compact Grant for Efficiency in Regionalization through the Governor's Office. This grant will assist the communities of Gloucester, Rockport, Manchester, and Essex to develop an elder transportation program to improve their access to healthy food sources and physical activity by including trips to grocery stores, farmers markets, the food pantry, as well as recreational areas and better socialization.
Good. Any questions or comments? Simple majority. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next.
Budget and Finance voted unanimously to recommend the City Council accept a private 2019 Catalyst Fund grant for $4,998 from the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts Foundation for the purpose of funding the purchase of a digital sensor X-ray equipment for diagnostic testing for the Gloucester Children's Dental Center, and I so move.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any other comment?
The city is in receipt of the grant. There's no match, and I guess what this grant is going to do is help them buy a sensor for a higher resolution for children's cavity imaging.
Okay. No local match, so.
Nope, no match.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next.
Budget and Finance voted unanimously to recommend that the City Council, in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 64, approve payment of prior year wages owed to 3 Department of Public Works employees for work performed during an ongoing job classification and compensation study in order to rectify wage adjustments for the time period of January 1st through June 30th, 2018. The fiscal year 2018 wages owed in the amount of $12,536.09 will be funded with fiscal year 2019 Public Works Department available budgeted funds. And I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any other questions? Pretty straightforward.
It's pretty straightforward. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer it.
No questions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next.
Budget and Finance voted unanimously to recommend the City Council approve Special Budgetary Transfer 2019 SBT 12 in the amount of $15,783 for the purpose of funding payment of an FY18 invoice from Ty and Bond approved by City Council, Certificate of Vote 2019 19-82 for a total of $13,225 and payment of police detail invoice 19-296 DV for a total of $2,558 for a grand total of $15,783, and I so move.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. The story? Other than that?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next.
Budget and Finance voted unanimously to recommend the City Council accept a state grant from the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection, a CWSRF 2019 Asset Management Grant to upgrade the City of Gloucester water and wastewater asset management plans for $150,000. The local match is comprised of a 50% cash match and 50% in-kind labor of the city's water contractor, Viola, and the Public Works Department, equaling $100,000 for an overall project total of $250,000. The grant is effective through June 30th, 2019, and I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any other comment on that one?
A year ago, the
Sounds
city
pretty
committed to an asset evaluation of all city facilities, and this grant program is an opportunity to do the same for the city's water and sewer infrastructure.
Great. So again, a simple majority. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Counselor, did you want to make a motion on that one for
Yes.
reconsideration?
I would like to make a motion to reconsider the council's vote as the grant is effective through June 30th, 2019, so we need to get the paperwork in.
Moved and seconded. Roll call vote?
Counselor O'Hara?
No.
Counselor Cox?
No.
Counselor Gilman? No. Counselor Heck?
No.
Counselor Holmgren?
No.
Counselor Blank? No. Counselor Lundberg?
No.
And Counselor Memhard?
No.
The motion for reconsideration fails.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Counselor Cox. Madam Clerk, next order of business.
Next order of business is the Ordinance and Administration Standing Committee Report of June 7th.
Counselor LeBlanc.
Thank you. Just one item this evening. Ordinance Administration voted 2 in favor, 1 absent, to recommend that the City Council approve under Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 20, Section 20-27, permits for scientific work in coastal waters and flats in the city, a permit for Seaside Sustainability, Inc., to conduct scientific research in coastal waters and tidal flats in the City of Gloucester for the purpose of assisting the City of Gloucester Department in Water Quality Monitoring, conducting mudflat acidification assessments, and monitoring and assessing the health of eelgrass beds with the following conditions. Condition number 1, acquiring the appropriate permits from the Mass Department of Marine Fisheries. Number 2, appear before the local Conservation Commission for a negative determination of applicable. Get my tongue-tied here. For the proposed work and obtain sign-offs from the city administration for property owners where the work will take place, and I so move.
Good. Moved and seconded. Any other comment on that?
Eric's here this evening. Do you want to speak on this, or?
No, I think that if O&A is satisfied with the conditions and all that stuff, then
yeah,
we're good.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions? Nope. That's a simple majority too, right? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And any others? Councilor LeBlanc? That's it. Okay. Next order of business.
The Plan and Development Standing Committee Report of June 19th.
Planning and Development, Councilor Gilman.
Thank you. I have one motion and one short comment. On a motion by Councilor Nolan, seconded by Councilor Holmgren, P&D Committee voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to permit the withdrawal of a request per letter submitted to the city clerk by Sam Avola, 1 Colburn Street, that his repetitive petition request covered under GZO Section 1515 be considered for the sole purpose of determining if a reduction of building height of 38 feet to 34.5 1.5 feet constitutes a specific or a material change without prejudice, and I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Just a little bit of housekeeping.
Housekeeping, thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, thank you.
And this is a new item that I just wanted to mention that came up at the meeting. We had permitted through our P&D an event coming up called Cheer to the Pier, Magnolia Pier fundraiser on July 27th. And my understanding is that after that approval, it was proven to be a conflict with the Bluefish tournament. And I believe I have the authority to approve the new date as it comes up, as opposed to us bringing it back to P&D, which would be too late. So I just wanted to mention that to all of you. Mr. Costa is here tonight. I don't think we need to ask him any questions, except I just wanted to communicate that there will be a different date for that event. So, and that's it for my report. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, next order of business.
Next order of business is public hearing 2019-032, loan order number 2019-006, loan authorization requesting the amount of $130,000 for the replacement of a number of interior and exterior doors at the O'Malley Innovation Middle School and the Gloucester High School.
Thank you. We're going to open the public hearing. This just to let those of you who are here for the plastic straw thing, you're next. This will just take us a minute, so open the public hearing. Anyone to speak in favor of the loan authorization? Mr. Dunn, by any chance? There he is.
I was in the back 40. This really isn't a loan order in the classic sense. What we're really doing is we have a project that facilities would like to do to improve any number of interior and exterior doors at the high school in O'Malley. So the total expected expenditure is about $130,000. We're going to go at that two different ways. What's before you tonight is a consolidation of two old loan orders that still had balances that had already been borrowed and left in them for school-related construction. So we're going to put those together. That's going to give us about $67,000. We need another $63,000 to put it together and get the whole $130,000 for the expected expenditure of the entire project. That additional amount of funds is available within another fund that is basically for school use revenues. So that's there. We can use them. Perfect example of what to use that school revenues for rentals for the buildings is to improve the buildings. So between the two of these, it will give us $130,000 to expend. We'll first use it from this consolidation of these two old loan order balances, and then we will go to the school building use fund for the balance to complete the project. So hopefully we've got enough to cover all of this. We want to be able to do this over the summer, obviously, when the students and the teachers are generally not in the building. So this would be a perfect time to kick it off, and hopefully it will all be done by September.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Any communications, Madam
There are
Clerk?
none.
Any council questions about the order itself? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and call for the committee report.
Budget and Finance voted unanimously to recommend that the City Council authorize the following loan order. Ordered that in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 20 of the General Laws, the $31,207.89 unexpended balance of Fund 5026, initially borrowed to pay the cost of Gloucester High School renovations, the $10,857.26 unexpended balance of Fund 5035, initially borrowed to pay the costs of FY 2014 school building improvements, and the $24,609.08 unexpended balance of Fund 5045, initially borrowed to pay the cost of fiscal 17 building improvements, which projects are complete and such amounts are no longer needed for the projects are hereby appropriated by this council to the new General Government Capital Project Fund for a total amount of $66,674.23 to pay the costs of improvements in the O'Malley Innovation Middle School and Gloucester High School, including the payment of and any all costs incidental and related thereto, and I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
I think Mr. Dunn explained what the costs were and that we're going to be using unexpended funds from the balances, which is, I think it's great.
Excellent. Okay, roll call. So roll call vote on this. Oh, sorry, Councilor Hecht. Okay. Yeah, you've read the transcripts. You're fine. Yeah, you're fine. Okay, but thank you for bringing it up. Very. Okay.
Counselor O'Hara?
Yes.
Counselor Cox?
Yes.
Counselor Gilman?
Yes.
Counselor Hecht?
Yes.
Counselor Holborn?
Yes.
Counselor LeBlanc?
Yes.
Counselor Lumberg?
Yes.
Counselor Memhard?
Yes.
The motion, City Council vote for Loan Order 2019-006, the amount of $130,000, passes on a vote of 8 in favor, 0 opposed, and 1 absent.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next order of business. I'm going to say this. In my script, I'm missing item number 2. You missing item number 2? Well, we're going to take it anyway, but I just don't have it in my script. So, Madam Clerk, next order of business.
Okay. Next order of business is public hearing 2019-033 to amend Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 9, Trash, Recycling, and Litter by adding Article 3, Prohibition on Single-Use Plastic Straw, Stir Sticks, and Hot Stopper.
I'm going to open the public hearing. Before I open the formal, for those speaking in favor, Councilor Heck requested that he be able to give a few opening comments since he was the originator of this. Is that okay with everybody?
Right, why don't we wait till, let the...
Okay. Okay, then we'll stick to the script. We're opening the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this motion? Thank you.
Hi, Eric Major, 7 Merchant Street, Executive Director of Seaside Sustainability. Thank you, Gloucester Council for City Council for having us. We're a little bit out of script because Ken was going to start, so now we're just going to punt. So actually, I'm going to turn it over to my team that's right behind me. They're going to give us a brief but comprehensive overview of Seaside and the issue around single-use plastics, which you've all heard of before, but we will be very brief, and compostable alternatives. And we're going to start off with Daria and Cassidy.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Daria Larson, 30 Dexter Street, Peabody, Massachusetts. My name is Daria. As I said, I'm here from the University of Connecticut as an intern for Seaside.
And my name is Cassidy Dubarton, 3 Lincoln Road, Salem, Massachusetts, 01970. I'm also a intern for Seaside Sustainability here from the Arizona State University. Seaside Sustainability, this is a little tall for me, was founded in 2016 by our executive director, Eric Majors. With 30 years of experience in environmental education, Eric has been helping with sustainable initiatives throughout the community for quite some time before founding Seaside. Now, 2 years since its conception, Seaside Sustainability is made up of a nationwide network of passionate interns and volunteers and a small but dedicated staff with experience in a variety of fields, from biology and engineering to business entrepreneurship and experiential education. Together, interns and board members have been working to launch sustainable initiatives such as Marine Citizen Science, National STEM Honor Society, Reclaiming the Sea from Marine Debris curriculum, and legislative action to ban plastics.
Our mission is to promote sustainable communities and oceans through education by action. We have implemented various educational programs in schools throughout the surrounding area to bring awareness to issues facing our oceans and our environment. These programs aim to educate through real hands-on experience that helps to mitigate the negative impacts of environmental issues. This past January, Seaside was able to establish a plastic bag and polystyrene ban in Gloucester by working with Gloucester High School, the Landmark School, the Gloucester Clean City Commission, and of course, Melissa Cox. Following the implementation of this legislation, we created an informative document detailing how to enact the plastic bag ban in your community, which we have then continued to disperse nationwide. Using this framework, we have come before you tonight to consider prohibiting plastic straws, stir sticks, and hot stoppers. Next up, Samantha and Nick are here to talk about the alternative compostable products and the cost of using these products. Thank you.
Nick Wigglesworth, 283 Argilla Road, Ipswich, Massachusetts.
Samantha Verge, 43 Berrywood Lane in South Hamilton. I'm an intern from the University of Vermont. Replacing plastic straws, stir sticks, and hot stoppers with compostable or reusable products would greatly improve our local community, as it would decrease pollution in our environment, oceans, and Gloucester's streets, parks, and shorelines. Compostable products meet the American Society for Testing Materials, or ASTM, 6,400 standards, which is a standard measuring compostable products replacing plastics, and are placed on plastics that are intended to be composted under aerobic conditions in municipal or industrial composting facilities. Compostable isn't the same as biodegradable, as biodegradable materials decompose into elements found in nature within a reasonably short period of time after customary disposal. Plastic products are non-biodegradable, and plastic straws and stir sticks require substantial energy to manufacture and contribute to greenhouse gases. We hope that food and retail establishments will go beyond the ordinance and work on educating their customers on why they should discontinue using plastic products in their everyday lives.
Over the past decade, the price of compostable alternatives to straws, stirs, and hot stoppers has dropped significantly, and today these compostable products cost just a fraction more than their plastic counterparts. Across this country, big corporations are taking steps to eliminate single-use plastics. One example is Starbucks. They have pledged to eliminate single-use plastic straws at all locations by 2020. Plastic straws alone have a huge impact on many marine species and the ecosystems that they inhabit. According to a statistic published by the Ocean Conservancy, the average person uses 1.6 straws per day. Applying the statistic to the city of Gloucester means the city uses approximately 48,000 straws per day, which equates to 17.6 million straws per year. As a coastal city that relies upon the ocean for both economic and social prosperity, the city must consider the impact that these unnecessary plastics have on the marine life in the Gulf of Maine, but also throughout the world. By implementing this plastic ban, Gloucester can take a large and necessary step towards improving the health of our oceans. And now I'd like to introduce Lily and Ryan, who will be speaking about one of the local businesses that has switched from plastic straws. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lily. I'm another intern. I'm the engineering intern at Seaside Sustainability, and I go to Hamilton College. I'm a physics major.
And my name is Ryan Duggan. I live in Saugus, Massachusetts, but I have a lot of family and friends in the Gloucester area, so I find myself here very frequently, so this is something that's pretty important to me. And one of the things we wanted to highlight to you today is that Seaside Sustainability has talked to an anonymous local business who's really a role model of corporate sustainability. In 2017, they began monitoring how many disposable plastic straws their restaurant specifically used. In 2017, they used 150,000 plastic straws over the course of just a single season, averaging at just under 19,000 per month, which is really a staggering number. In 2018, after switching to compostable paper straws and implementing their Straw by Request program, they had a 33% reduction in straw usage overall and a complete elimination of the disposable plastic straws, which clog up waterways and the marine environments.
Right. So I think the thing that we're trying to focus on here is that switching to compostable straws can be something that both satisfies customers as well as is environmentally and economically sustainable. The combination that this business was using with both switching their straw type and also going with a request-only straw policy means that they were dispensing a lot less straws because not everyone needs one, wants one. So that does really keep costs down. Right, we want to stress that we're not trying to take straws away from people. People like them and sometimes they're medically necessary. But just the type of straw that will both outlive you and your children and your grandchildren and everybody because it will stay here forever.
So really, this ordinance would help to call for businesses to replace their disposable plastic straws with other alternatives that can make people feel good. Because really, personally, I'm tired of feeling guilty for every time I see or touch a straw or need to use one, and people shouldn't have to do that. By initiating this ordinance, we can have the compostable paper ones, the plant-based ones, and people can use straws freely and feel good about the choices they're making and not be hindered and not have that environmental destruction aspect to everything. So if businesses wish to adopt the Straw by Request program, they can do that independently, but this ordinance wouldn't force them to do so. Really, this ordinance would help to uphold and echo what you have written on the wall in the City Hall, build not for today alone, but for tomorrow as well, because that's why we're all here. We care about this, and there are other people that care about this, such as the business that already switched over to compostable straws. They and we care about today and care about tomorrow, and that's why we really want to see plastic straws be taken away from Gloucester, as well as the hot stoppers and stirrers. So now we'd like to introduce the head coordinator of Seaside Sustainability's Plastic Mitigation Initiatives, Zoe.
Thanks, Ryan, and thank you to all the interns who came with me today and showed their support. Good evening. My name is Zoe Duffield. I'm from Ipswich, Massachusetts, and I'm also an intern. Growing up in a coastal town, I've always done my best to be aware of how I impact the environment around me, specifically the ocean. It's always shocked me how much damage something as small as a plastic straw can do to the environment. And fairly recently, I got to witness my own town successfully pass a plastic bag ban, which was headed by students at my high school through a course written by Eric, our executive director. That's when my interest and my passion in local environmental policy really sparked. At Seaside, I've been doing a lot of research and work on what needs to happen before an ordinance like this is passed. And in the past few weeks, I've also been communicating with people from Gloucester, specifically Councilmember Ken Hecht, and others from surrounding towns who are looking to put plastic bans in action. Fortunately, the movement to eliminate single-use plastic items is rapidly growing, as shown right here in Gloucester through letters of support and many signatures we've received from petitions. Also, other ordinances similar to the one that's being discussed tonight have been implemented in other Commonwealth towns. There are also a few major cities across the U.S. that are making efforts to use less plastic. For example, the city of Seattle has had plastic bans for a variety of products in place since 2012. These bans are great news for us as consumers and for the environment, specifically the marine environment, because bans that require alternative compostable items like straws and stirrers reduce our carbon footprint and greatly decrease damage to surrounding wildlife. This means that in the long run, we can save money on our health, our ecosystems, and the economy in general. Many of these plastic ban movements are started and supported by young people. This is because it is the younger, future generations that will have to deal with the growing and significant effects of plastic pollution. Myself and others like me believe that ceasing to use single-use plastic products is a crucial step to a non-plastic dependent future. This proposed ordinance in Gloucester would provide a perfect stepping stone to combat waste production, live more sustainably, and protect the planet. Through a ban on single-use plastic straws, stirrers, and hot stoppers, Gloucester can continue their awareness of plastic pollution, continue to grow and promote sustainability, and ultimately combat the extensive waste and debris that is in our oceans and littering our coasts. So, as aspiring environmentalists and as a local myself, we at Seaside are excited to watch and help in any way we can the City of Gloucester collectively become a front runner in this plastics issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak in favor?
Yes. Amanda Nash, 8 Exchange Street. I'm not as good at this as they are. I have to have my notes. I feel that this ordinance is really a no-brainer. We don't need these products. Clearly, we can live without them. We're not going to starve, and our children are not going to be deprived, and our businesses are not going to go under because we don't have hot stoppers and plastic straws. But even beyond that, we can't continue to compare how things will hurt business or threaten our convenience to how they will hurt the planet. It's a completely different order of magnitude. I really wish that when people discuss things like this, they would consider the larger picture. Plastics are made out of fossil fuels, and fossil fuels are an existential threat to the planet. Eventually, even if we do convert to solar and wind and thermal, we're probably still going to have to turn down our heat, reduce our driving, stop plugging in things that we can run by hand, and stop buying cheap plastic crap for fun or for stupid non-essential tasks. In the meantime, I feel that this is the least we can do. I mean, it's literally the least we can do.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak in favor? Yep, take your time. Name and address, please.
Hello, my name is Jamie Matheson. I'm from 47 Parker Street here in Gloucester. I'm speaking in support of this ban. I'm a local business owner and also a part of a local nonprofit, Cape Ann Maritime Partnership. We've worked with Seaside Sustainability and Clean City and a lot of other organizations in town. I'll start with, I'm sure a lot of you have seen the sea turtle video. Anyone here seen that? If you haven't, that's all you need to see, and I guarantee you'll be in support of this ban. It's pretty traumatic to see. You don't need to watch the whole thing, but you'll get the gist of it. It really demonstrates what a huge impact something so small can make on our environment and the animals that live in it. One quick fact, and there's a lot of facts just like this, is that the US alone consumes enough straws daily to wrap around the Earth's circumference 2.5 times. I realize we're just Gloucester, but if every city followed in our lead, which a lot already have, and we'd be following in their lead, think about what a difference that could make. Think about even one restaurant doing it. You'll probably hear in a second that there's been a lot of restaurants that have already partaken in this ban, or choosing to partake in it voluntarily. Also, that being said, I talk to a lot of people about this. I ask people all the time. I bring my own straw when I go places, so it always starts a conversation. Most of the people I talk to don't like using them. They take them out, they put them on the bar, and they become trash, and they weren't even used once. Perhaps just to stir their drink, but even that, you can figure that out with a knife or anything like that that's sitting on the counter. There are more sustainable options. One common thing I hear is I hate paper. You don't have to use paper. There are compostable straws that we heard about from Seaside. There are options that you would guarantee are plastic, but they are certified compostable straws. There are hay straws made out of completely organic materials. There are cardstock straws that are paper, but are much sturdier and will definitely last several drinks worth. And like I said, you can bring your own straw. You can bring a glass straw, a bamboo straw, a metal straw, a reusable plastic straw if you really love plastic. And then on top of that, when I go out, I could have my own straw in my hand. I asked for no straw. I'd say it's getting a little better. More than half the time, I still get that straw, or the bartender or waitress comes over with the straw and then immediately plucks it out. And where do you think it goes after that? So I guess that's all I have. And I hope you guys consider this, and I hope you guys all go home and watch that sea turtle video if you're not in support of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Others in favor? Name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Sarah Stewart. I live at 15 Wall Street. I'd just like to say that I'm here to represent the Clean City Commission. We voted in favor to support this ordinance. I'd also just like to say Mile Marker 1 and Cape Ann Marina, Lobsterland, Cape Ann Brewery, 1606 at the Beauport Hotel, Minglewood Harborside, Cape Ann Coffee, and Zeke's Breakfast have all made a switch to compost straws or straws upon request. Those are all very successful businesses in my eyes in this community. So I think that proves that this is a viable thing and it's not going to hurt businesses because it is feasible. I'd also just like to say that working with Seaside and Cape Ann Maritime Partnership, we just got a grant for a seabin. And we also have Skimmy Gibbler here. I think that Gloucester has a chance to be a leader in this topic, not only for environmental, but for tourism and stuff like that. So I think this is a great ordinance that Seaside has brought to the table along with councilors. So I am in support of this. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak in favor?
Hi, Tracy Ritchie, 47 River Road in Gloucester. And I am in support of the ban of plastic straws and single-use plastics. More and more communities are taking it as their own initiative just to start this. It's a global issue, and more countries are adopting this practice. The reality is you don't even need a straw. I mean, I was out, I didn't get a straw, I didn't even use one. So, I mean, Gloucester could really, it's a positive. It's always a positive when you're helping reduce the trash, the waste, and you're protecting the environment. So please support this ban. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Anybody else in favor? Okay, anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, any community? Nope, here we go. Name and address, please.
My name is Jennifer Entwistle. I live at 334 Washington Street. I just want to make a note, not necessarily in opposition to this, but just about the disabled. I don't have a common medical condition. I have a condition called cold urticaria, and I'm allergic to the cold. I cannot have a drink out of a glass without the use of a straw. I've had instances where I've gone places and had to return a drink or walk out of it because I cannot have a drink because they don't have something for me. I just wanted to make this statement about the disabled actually being considered in this, because when they pass things like this, people see it as an opportunity to have a cost-saving measure. They see the fines, and then they don't want to have anything available. I just want to touch on that, you know, how would you feel if you went out for a pasta dinner and they told you they didn't have a fork? It's very embarrassing, and these people need to be considered. I just want to make a couple notes. The plastic straws count for 0.03% of trash in the oceans. We're getting all these facts that started from a 9-year-old science project. And I'm not discounting the impact on the environment. I've worked for the New England Aquarium for years doing marine mammal rescue and rehab. And I can tell you, I've never seen a straw in any marine mammal that was dead or harmed. What I do see all the time is balloons. No one's banning those. Cigarette butts are a huge concern. And the number one trash in the ocean right now, 50% of it is fishing nets. Look where we live. I just think that, you know, there's a lot more serious things that can be looked at. So basically what I just want to say is if you're going to pass a ban like that and you're going to impose fines, I think that restaurants should be let know that they do have to have some sort of option for the disabled. It needs to be noted in there, and it needs to be important, because I've been to many places where I've had to get up and leave or return a drink or sit there during a restaurant, during out to eat with all my friends without a drink because I can't physically have one. And it's just, you never want to be in that position. That's it.
Thank you for your comments. I think without getting into the details, I think we've tried to cover that in our proposed ordinance, the issue that you just spoke of. Anyone else in favor, in opposition, in the middle? Any other public comment? Then any communications, Madam Clerk?
Yes, we have. You received all of these communications. Amanda Nash sent in a communication, but she also spoke tonight. These are the people in favor. Demetria Lavakis, Nicole Bogan, Director of the Cape Ann Farmers Market, Carolyn Haynes, Jenny Mayer, Joanne Hart, Elizabeth Lewis, Leonore Bellaro, and Leslie Davidson, and Tim Grenier. In opposition is Peter Vaness and Kimberly Nixon is against it because it adversely affects the elderly, the babies, and children and people with allergies.
Thank you. Any councilor questions on the technicalities? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Call for the committee report.
Can speak. They wanted to speak earlier before we do a committee report.
So, well, the committee report generally starts out with the motion, and the motion includes so why don't we get that on the table first?
No problem. Ordinance and administration voted 2 in favor, 1 present, to recommend that the City Council adopt Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 9, Trash, Recycling, and Litter by adding Article 3, Prohibition of Single-Use Plastic Straws, Stir Sticks, and Hot Stoppers, to Chapter 9, Trash, Recycling, and Litter as follows. Chapter 9, Trash, Recycling, and Litter by adding Article 3, Prohibition on Single-Use Plastic Straws, Stir Sticks, and Hot Stoppers. Section 9-22, Definitions. The following words and terms and phrases shall be used in this article have the following meaning ascribed to them by the section, except for when the context clearly indicates a different meaning. Plastic straws means any straw made of polypropylene, polyethylene, and polystyrene provided by a retail establishment to a customer. Plastic stir stick means any stir stick, hollow or otherwise made from polypropylene, polyethylene, and polystyrene used to stir a beverage. Hot stopper means any device also known by the name as splash stick, which is used to block a hole of a coffee lid, intended for single use and made from plastic materials including but not limited to those made from polypropylene, polyethylene, and polystyrene. Biodegradable means any material that will completely degrade and return to its nature, decompose into elements found in nature with a reasonably short period of time after customary disposal. ASTM D6400 means the American Society for Testing and Materials, International Standard Specifications, and Compostable Plastics. Compostable means a stirrer, straw, or hot stopper designed as compostable as it means as the ASTM 6400 standard. Customer means any person purchasing any goods from a retail establishment. Person means any natural person, firm, corporation, partnership, or other organization, group, however organized. Recyclable means any material that can be sorted, cleaned, and reconstituted to using available recycling collection programs in the City of Gloucester for the purpose of using the altered form of the manufacturer of a new product. Recycling does not include burning, incinerating, converting, or otherwise thermally destroying solid waste. Food and retail establishment means the operation of stores, preparers, packagers, service vendors, and otherwise provide food for human consumption. Any establishment requiring a permit to operate an ordinance with the State Food Code 105 CMR 59.000 shall be considered a food establishment for purposes of this ordinance. Beverage provider means business, organization, entity, group, or individual located in the City of Gloucester that offers liquid, slurry, frozen, or semi-frozen, or other forms of beverage to this public consumption. Director means the Director of Public Health or his or her designee. Department means the City of Gloucester Public Health Department. Section 9-23, regulations, recommendations, exemptions, and prohibitions. Subsection A, no food establishment retail establishment or beverage provider in the city of Gloucester shall provide single-use, non-biodegradable plastic straws, stir sticks, or other hot stoppers to customers. Subsection B, if a retail establishment provides straws, stir sticks, or hot stoppers, they must be one of the following: compostable and made from a compostable material meeting the specifications of ASTM D6400 or equivalent standard as defined herein, including but not limited to paper, wooden, bamboo, straw, and etc. Reusable and made from reusable materials, including glass, stainless steel, bamboo, ceramic, etc. Subsection C, in this chapter prohibits customers from using straws or stir sticks of any type that they bring to the retail establishment themselves in lieu of using straws, stir sticks, or hot stoppers provided by the retail establishment. Subsection D, nothing in this section precludes food establishments, retail establishments, or beverage providers from using or making non-plastic alternatives such as those made from paper, compostable plastic, sugarcane, or bamboo available to customers. Subsection E, a retail establishment may provide or sell reusable straws, stir sticks, or hot stoppers to its customers or to any person. Subsection F, a reusable straw, stir stick, or hot stopper must be constructed out of stainless steel or other material deemed reusable and not single-use. Subsection G, in the case of a handicapped person who requires a plastic straw in order to ingest liquids, establishments may provide plastic straws upon request. Hospitals, nursing homes, and other establishments predominantly serving the elderly, infirm, or handicapped individuals are exempt from this ordinance. Section 9-24, enforcement, violation, and penalties. Subsection A, it is determined that the violation has occurred. If it is determined that the violation has occurred, the director shall issue a warning notice to the food or retail establishment or beverage provider for the initial violation. Subsection B, in the addition of violation of this bylaw has occurred within 1 year after a warning, a notice may be issued for an initial violation. The director shall issue a notice of violation and shall impose a penalty against the retail establishment. Subsection C, the penalty for each violation that occurs after the issuance of the warning notice shall be no more than number 1, warning of the first offense; number 2, $100 for the second offense; number 3, $200 for the third offense, and each subsequent offense. Subsection D, no more than one penalty shall be imposed upon a retail establishment within a 5 calendar day period. Subsection E, a retail establishment shall have 15 calendar days after the date of the notice of violation to pay the penalty, or the total amount for the penalty payable shall be doubled, and all fines shall be payable to the city of Gloucester. Section 9-25, severability effective date. Each section of this chapter shall be construed as separate to the end of that if any section, sentence, clause, or phrase therefore shall be held invalid for any reason, the remainder of the chapter and all other chapters shall continue in full force. Subsection D, this chapter shall take effect on January 1st, 2020, and I so move. Wow.
Great reading. Moved and seconded. Nice job. Okay. Councilor Heck, did you want to have a few words at this point?
Thank you, everyone from Seaside. That was awesome. Eric Majors came to me in the fall of 2018, about 9 months ago, and we've been working on this for quite a while. That'll come into play in a second. In the biggest picture, we take a plastic straw and we use it for a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and it hangs around for years and years and years and years. So there's a huge mismatch between what our use is of that and what we, how long it takes to go away. The worst part about it is the microplastics, which we haven't heard that much about, but these things, plastic deteriorates and it breaks into more and more fragments, and those fragments, our fish swim in it, our crabs, our lobsters hang around in it over time, and it's a big issue because when we eat, it infiltrates their bodies, and then when we dine on that seafood, it infiltrates our bodies. So literally, the plastic content of our bodies is increasing over time. Zoe, if you wouldn't mind, through Dana, would you first drop off the plastic straws and remain up there for a moment? So what we're going through the chair, if that's okay. So what Zoe wants to pass out first, which ones are the plastic ones? The red? Okay. So the red ones are plastic, pass those all around, and the green ones are compostable. Are there some of the bendable ones in that package? Okay, great. Thank you. Great, thank you. So as you'll see, the red are the plastic straws, but what's probably, you're very familiar with those, what's most important is to look at these are compostable straws. These are not paper straws. These are straws that no one would even know was not. And what we found was very interesting is that there are straws on the market that bend. Because my mother drinks coffee with a straw because she's got tremors. So this is very important to her. We go drink coffee, she drinks it out of a straw. So this was one of the reasons that I'm going to offer an amendment later on is because of that bending straw. Thank you. In terms of cost, the plastic straw today costs about 1 cent per straw. The compostable straws cost 2 cents per straw. So there is a differential in price. It's a small price, but I think that these straws, the compostable straws, are probably the biggest business opportunity on the planet right now because everybody's rushing to these. When Eric called me to ask if I would sponsor this, the first thing that came to mind was Dunkin' Donuts. Oh my God, who's got the most straws? So we went to see Dio with a couple of really excellent interns, and Dio was, somewhat supportive, but after a couple of months of chasing him for a support letter, his hands were tied because it's Dunkin' Corporate. He referred us to Dunkin' Corporate. I called up Dunkin' Corporate. They've got an entire department that's working on all this stuff. I mean, this is big business coming our way. So, and there's a massive wave, and I'm really hoping that we can tonight be along with the curve and not behind the curve. I wanted to just give you a little update very quickly on what's going on in the worldwide movement in this area. The anti-straw movement is growing across the world, and many companies and restaurants are swapping out plastic straws for compostable ones and are eliminating them altogether, providing straws only upon request has been remunerated. Numerous cities and towns in some countries have already passed straw and/or stir reduction ordinances, including Seattle, Washington, Malibu, Oakland, Berkeley, and San Francisco, California, Miami Beach, St. Petersburg, Fort Myers Beach, Coral Gables, Surfside, Delray Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and Deerfield Beach, Florida, Chelmsford and Somerville, Massachusetts, Vancouver, Canada, Scotland, Taiwan, New York, Hawaii, and California have pending straw ban legislation statewide, and what happened just recently was the European Union voted to ban all single-use plastic in all 28 countries by 2021. So these are the governments. Now in terms of the private sector, and what is the private sector doing in this area? The city of Gloucester's beach concessions. The city of Gloucester's beach concessions has banned plastic straws. McDonald's in the UK is testing alternatives. Starbucks banned by 2020, which was mentioned, that's 1 billion straws per year. Gone. 1 billion. That's leadership. Hilton Hotels, gone from 650 properties. United Airlines, gone. Royal Caribbean, gone by the end of this year. The Chicago White Sox. Please. Right? The Chicago White Sox, the first major league team to ban plastics with the Shed Aquarium, Shed the Straw campaign. Four Seasons Hotel gone. Dell Computer gone by 2020. Dunkin' Donuts we talked about. Bon Appetit, 1,000 locations gone. And what's happened is China is not accepting recycling as they once were, reducing the amount of plastic even more urgent. It was good that Steve asked the mayor to put on her Facebook page, plastic straw ban. What do you think? So I'm getting the hook here, all right? So it came out very favorably on that Facebook page. This has been backed by the Health Department and the Clean City Commission, and I will be offering 2 amendments. I just want to describe that now, or do you
So do you want to make a motion now to the, amendment, do you want to move to amend the original motion that's
Yes,
on
I
the
have
table now?
2 amendments.
Okay. So,
Is it appropriate to do that now?
well, yeah, if you're done with your narrative.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't we do the amendments, because we want to move this along, so tell us what the amendments are.
Great. Because we started this so long ago, in the amendment, it's written to start on January 1st of 2020, which, given it's now July 1st, 2019, it's taken so long to get to where we are that we want to move that to July 1st, 2020. So we want to give all merchants, hospitals, everything, the ability to have this a full year to get up to speed on this.
I'll second that.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to change the effective date in that last section 925B to from January 1, 2020 to what? July 1?
July 1,
2020. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any commentary on that?
I just think it's more fair, given a time frame.
I want to vote on them one at a time. So, okay, any other questions on that? Yes, Councilor Gilman?
So I'm supporting this amendment for the reason that I thought Councilor Cox did a very effective job with polystyrene and single-use plastic when she put a effective date that was about 15 months after we approved it. And the reason why that was important is it gave us ample time to work with our local businesses. In addition, we had 4 different sessions at Rose Baker where we passed out plastic bags that were not single-use, and we got them used to using them. Ken came to some of those meetings. Ainsley Smith was with us, Carter Whitlock, and we really worked hard to get the seniors on board. And because the date coming wasn't as threatening, they felt more inclined to begin to embrace the change and learn more about it. So I will be effective. I will be supporting this, and I hope the rest of you consider
Any other
supporting
comment
this.
on the motion to change the date? Nope. Okay, then just civil majority. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, what else do you have for a motion? Amendment, rather.
The next amendment, I propose to delete 9-25B. 9-25B. It would be 9.23G. I apologize. That's the part of the, if you want to go to the ordinance, 9.23G, it refers to the exclusions. That'd be the elderly, the hospitals, the handicapped, et cetera.
So that proposed part of the motion reads, in the case of handicapped persons who require plastic straws in order to ingest liquids, establishments may provide plastic straws upon request. Hospitals, nursing homes, and other establishments predominantly serving the elderly, infirm, or handicapped individuals are exempt from this ordinance. You want to delete that?
That is correct.
So the motion is to delete that.
Now, the reason for that is something that go ahead. Oh.
Okay, moved and seconded, so tell us the reason.
The reason is, and it was brought up by Jamie, and it started to make some sense as we did further research on all these straws that are available for almost no more money, and they do have the straws that are used in the hospitals. The thought was there's really no reason to have these organizations exempt. It creates another layer of, are you this, are you that? It's a much simpler ordinance, and because the products are so available and going to become much more available, that we felt that there was no reason to really exempt those institutions. However, the handicapped will be served. They will never know whether it's plastic straw or a compostable straw. So that would be the reason for the motion.
Okay. Yes, Councilor Cox, then Councilor Holmgren.
So if we remove this section, I don't disagree with you on it. I think the exceptions are excessive, but what protection is there to the handicapped or elderly that a facility will just not eliminate straws altogether? Because there's nothing in this entire ordinance that says restaurants have to be able to provide a straw upon request. Do you understand what I mean?
They could, any institution, any restaurant, no one has to provide any straws by law today. My point is, they could just stop providing straws anytime, as they do in many places around the world. They don't have straws. They've come to our country and go like, what's up with the straws? You know? They really do. I mean, we've got friends from Canada that are like, what's up with the straws?
Okay.
You know?
Councilor Holmgren?
No, I wasn't.
With regard to exemptions, the open door is exempt from the plastic bag ordinance, and that's for a reason, and it's because they need to give food to people and in an expedited way. I also am remembering Kim Nixon's email to us, and her concern about allergies in straws was specifically for people with celiac disease, and I don't know if it's just paper straws, but there's no real regulation on what compostable straws are made of. And somebody with a gluten allergy, gluten allergies are really severe. Prolonged exposure to gluten in somebody with celiac disease could cause gastric cancer. A hospital is obligated to provide a reasonable accommodation to somebody with a disability under the Americans with Disabilities Act. In fact, anybody is. But I feel very comfortable and happy with this framework in Section G in this proposed ordinance as it is right now. And we're going to be talking about implementing a Disability Rights Commission in just a few short minutes, and I would really be a lot more comfortable with this language in the ordinance as a framework for hospitals and rehab facilities as a guideline, if that makes sense.
Councilor LeBlanc?
All right. So I had some questions at O&A that I feel didn't get answered. So under the Massachusetts state law, you are not required, or you are not allowed to ask a person their disability. So if I were to go to any establishment in Gloucester and ask for a plastic straw, they would have to give me one. Correct? With no questions asked.
I don't believe that's the case. I don't think there's any obligation on anybody's part to provide a straw to anybody. This is a completely...
well, we're talking about providing straws to anybody. We know that it's not a law that you have to provide them, but establishments are providing them, just like the hospitals are, just like Melissa said.
Right.
What's the difference between, you didn't answer Melissa's question, you're not answering mine. A plastic straw is still going to be available for people with disabilities.
Well, we're discussing the amendment right now, and what I've...
But this is part of the amendment. We're talking about, this is the disability, this is a hospital which requires plastic straws for establishments predominantly serving the elderly, infirmed, or handicapped. So this is part of the thing. We're not allowed to ask people what their disability is. Will a plastic straw still be provided to a person with a handicap?
Under the amendment we're discussing, which is to strike that clause, there would be no reference to it at all in the bylaw, so it would be moot. Because these straws, they'd never know if they were having a plastic straw or not. So it would be a moot point. If this amendment passes, I hear the concern of Councilor Holmgren. I'm not super married to this. This brings up a good point, Steve, I think in favor of deleting this provision, because it removes that layer of ADA and what's required. Can you ask someone if they're disabled or not? It says I'm disabled, I want a straw. I don't know the details of any of those laws, if there are any. But I'm not really, I see the advantages of this being clarifying those kinds of things, Steve, because it just doesn't even address it. But I also am sensitive to Councilor Holmgren's concern that, you know, people with disabilities have the ability to get things, and if there's, I have no idea what the, you know, what the wheat content is in this thing, or the, I don't know.
Right, so what people are allergic to gluten and wheat and stuff like that, so what are we going to do for these people that have allergic reactions to these compostable or other types of straws we're trying to put here? I'm just looking for clarification.
Yeah, I
Because
would
there's
be
certain
happy.
people, this woman in the audience said that she has an allergy or whatever, she has a disability, or that she needs to drink out of a straw. There's other people that have food allergies, you know, so we need to make sure that we're making across the board fair for everybody.
Right. The woman in the audience who spoke, I was very, you know, interested to hear that as an issue, and issues have come up that I didn't expect in this. I don't believe that she would have any adverse effect other than celiac, I don't know about that, of drinking out of one of these straws. She would really never know what straw she was drinking out of. She'd be drinking out of a straw. In terms of celiac, I don't know what to say. That's becoming a huge issue, and I'm really thinking that the people who are putting these straws out, I don't know the answer to that, but I would think that with the market, that they're going to be addressing this because they don't want to get sued. But I don't know the answer to that, Steve. I don't know the answer about celiac. I just don't know the answer.
Mr. Cox?
When you go into a restaurant and you have a food allergy, you have to specify that you cannot consume those foods. I think we're borderline over-regulating something that is right now not regulated. We can't tell them what type of straw to buy. We can't, I think it's overreaching to tell them they have to have plastic and reusable. So I'm almost in favor of deleting section G, because G makes it mandatory to have the plastic, but at the same time they want to have straws that are usable and not be in violation. So now we're kind of telling them they need to buy 2 different types of straws, which is now 3 cents per straw. There's something to be said for personal responsibility too. Like, if you know you have an allergic reaction, you wouldn't go for the paper straw, or you would bring your own straw. You know, I know that's not always something that I have in my purse. I have multiple reusable straws at home, and none of them are in my bag when I need a straw. So I get that it's not always. I don't know what the perfect answer is here, but we can't require them to have 2 types of straws.
So,
Yeah.
right.
I don't know what the right answer is.
So,
In my time with the plastic bag and the polystyrene, we spent years with multiple experts and multiple things. This, to me, just isn't there yet. I mean, I know there's been a lot of work that's put into it, but we don't have the right answer. If we keep G, we're making them buy 2 different types of straws, or multiple. If we don't keep it, we're not being handicap friendly. There's nothing in there to require a good substitute.
Well, if we keep G, they just keep going with plastic straws, if they so choose. So we're not really asking them to buy additional straws.
But we just banned plastic straws, so no,
But
it's not.
if we keep G in, we've excluded them, correct? So if we keep them in, we've excluded that so they can have all the plastic straws they want. So we don't really have to have them
So
buy
you
2
just
straws.
excluded every single restaurant.
so Councilor Holmgren?
I agree with Councilor Cox. The onus is also on the individual. And I know a lot of people with celiac who don't go out to eat for that reason. I will say, to me, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but it looks as though we're not forcing people to buy plastic straws. It says may provide plastic straws upon request. So it's not, we're not forcing restaurants to buy them if we keep G in here. But it might be nice if they kept a plastic straw stock on hand just in case.
So I'll just put my hospital hat on for a minute because I'm on the board of the hospital and we talk about this stuff. And here's what where the hospital comes out is that it is the hospital's responsibility to do what it needs to do to accommodate people. It'll do whatever it takes. If plastic straws aren't one of the options, they'll find something else. And they're not particularly worried about the ban of plastic straws. They'll just find a way because they will comply. Just as restaurants are going to have to comply, whatever, and we don't know sitting here what are the requirements for accommodations by restaurants. I'm not an expert on that, but it's up to them. So if we want to, this G provides an exemption because we're guessing that some people need an exemption that doesn't exempt everybody who might have to make an accommodation. And I think you're right. I don't know all the answers either. I'm good with it in or out, but
I'm not married to either. I thought it was a simplification.
I will say the bottom line is up to an establishment that serves people has obligations to provide accommodations. They need to figure that out themselves. Councilor Blank?
Yes. So we're going to make retail establishments in hospitals carry two types of straws, basically. A plastic straw or a compostable straw or a stainless steel straw. So there's going to be many forms of straws or a glass straw. So what are we forcing establishments to do here? Because, I mean, this is going to be a law. This is what we're, and we're asking you the questions. You're the maker of the motion, and if you don't have answers for this, I think this needs to go back to O&A for a little tweaking. Because I have questions that aren't answered. Melissa has some, Jen has some. We're not getting the answers here, and we're going to vote a law into effect that we're not really sure what we're voting on here.
Right now, we're discussing the amendment, which is removing and deleting the clause that exempts hospitals, et cetera.
Right.
So that's really what I'm happy to talk with you and discuss that. I don't see how we're forcing people to buy plastic straws. It's the opposite. We don't want them to buy plastic. We want them to buy compostable.
So we have a motion that's been seconded on the floor. We've had one amendment that we voted in favor of. We have another proposed amendment which we should vote on, and then we'll get back to the main motion. And if there is a sense of the council to send it back, that's when we'll do it. But let's dispose of the motion first. So the motion is to eliminate G. That's the motion, and that motion's been seconded for purposes of discussion. Anybody else have any questions about that? So we can say all those in favor of eliminating G from the main motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
No.
Okay, I think the ayes carry it. All right, now we have an amended, twice amended motion. Any other amendments, by the way, before we move on? What? Huh? Okay.
Oh.
That's right, you're right. We can only do 202.
Okay.
So, all right, so now we have a properly
Mr.
amended
President,
motion.
can we have a roll call vote on the last, on the motion, please?
The second amendment.
On the second amendment.
Sure. This is the amendment to remove item G from the main motion.
Council O'Hara?
Yes.
Council Cox?
Yes.
Council Gilman?
Yes.
Counselor Hecht,
Yes.
Counselor Holbrook,
No.
Counselor Blank,
No.
Counselor Lumberg.
Yes.
Counselor Memhard.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion to delete section 9.23G, okay, passes on a vote of 6 in favor, 2 opposed, and 1 absent.
Okay. So now we have a properly amended motion before us, and we can have discussion on that as to what councilors want to do with this motion. So I think we know what Councilor Heck wants to do.
I think we can be a leader or not. This is going to happen. It's happening all over the world. It's happening all over the country. This is where it's all going, and I'd much rather be a leader than not. And we've got that opportunity to be a leader. We've got all these young people. We've got a very fired up environmental movement in Gloucester, which is fabulous. We've done the cups, we've done the bags. It's time to do the straws, and let's keep moving. Let's keep making improvements. That would be my opinion. Thank you.
Councilor Gilman?
So I'm going to be supporting this proposed ordinance as amended for a couple of reasons. I've been testing out this. I know that this is plastic, but this is a reusable plastic straw, and I've been diligently using this for over a year. I'm allowed to present this at the Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru when I just say, I've got a reusable cup, and I'm coming around, and they fill it up. I use it over and over again. I wash this every single night. I've used the same straw now for over a month and a half. I went to two events about a month ago, and I bought 20 of these beautiful colored reusable plastic straws. I know some of you were squiggling up your nose because it is plastic, but it's definitely reusable. And I passed them out to the Lanes Cove Historical Association, 12 members, and it was like I was giving them lottery tickets. I mean, they were so eager to take these silly different color straws and have them in their pockets and just to have them take them home. And then I did the same with a group of 80-year-olds at my mother's birthday, all Briar Neck residents, Scott, and they were just delighted to get these straws. I mean, there is just a movement, a feel, doing the right thing. I'm really proud of our council for being proactive. And, you know, I think, yes, there might be tweaks down the road, but we can always go back and tweak. This is the right thing to do. I am floored when I look at the videos of the turtles with the plastic straws. And I will also tell you that Council Nolan called me before tonight's meeting, and he wanted me to share that a friend of his wife, who has a husband that works in the DPW, I guess our rake right now was out of order, and yesterday they were raking Good Harbor Beach, and he counted 400 straws for litter on the beach. We can do better. We're making great progress, and I hope the rest of councilors support this ordinance as amended. Thank you.
Councilor Holmgren.
So we as a city do learn from ordinances we pass, and as I said, I'm awfully glad we're going to be talking about a Disability Rights Commission in a few short minutes who can examine any potential issues surrounding this ordinance down the line to make sure we're taking reasonable accommodations seriously as a welcoming city. We, as a community, must not lose sight of the overall 8 million metric tons of plastic that ends up in the ocean every year, of which straws are just a tiny fraction, as the last speaker said. Organizations like Seaside Sustainability, Cape Ann Maritime Partnership, and Keep Massachusetts Beautiful are huge advocates for environmental cleanliness, and they put their money and their time where their mouths are every single day. They are an inspiration to us all. But we as a community need to make sure we are putting some of our spare time, even just a few minutes a day, making a difference. And that's not just by implementing sustainable and waste-cutting measures in our daily lives. That's by urging our representatives to do the right thing, from the people sitting before you at the dais, who have all participated in citywide cleanups, because I've known these guys here for long enough to know that we are all environmental stewards to a degree, right on up the food chain to the State House and to Washington. Statistics show that people who care about the environment still don't vote as often as other interest groups. The environment is in everybody's interest, so let's start turning those statistics on their ears. And it's also by buying from environmentally responsible groups. Let's make sure we are voting with our dollars and make capitalism work for us. We in this room can always do more as individuals, but let's hit the corporations who make plastics right in the wallet and give them some more food for thought. So cheers. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other counselors?
Here, here.
Here, okay. Counselor Cox?
I'm going to be supporting this as well. At first, I wasn't a big fan of instituting another ban, so I did not sign on to this when approached. So I think enough restaurants were, thank you, doing it on their own, especially after the polystyrene and the plastic bag ban. A lot of restaurants started becoming familiar with alternative products for purchase, and a lot of restaurants started doing this on their own. I do see the necessary evil in instituting a ban, and I've been on the cleanups. I've picked up many, many straws myself. We worked with the concession stands at the beaches to eliminate single-use straws there as well. And I do believe that by deleting G, that there are enough alternatives in just this little bit that you guys supplied us. There are 2 straws, one bendable, one straight, that are plastic-esque. So, but not plastic. So I think there's enough options out there. And the more people get on board with eliminating the single-use plastics, the more corporations are going to start creating things to use without plastic. And the more consumers are going to start buying those, the better the price is going to be on our purchase. So until we start forcing people's hands to behave better, I don't think the movement's going to be as strong. So I will be supporting this tonight.
Thank you. Any other counselor? Counselor LeBlanc?
Thank you. So I voted present at Ordinance Administration because I wanted to do a little bit more of investigating and people, listening to people and whatnot. I'm listening to you guys up here this evening. I'm not a big fan of over-governing, and I thought this was, small town council overstepping their bounds to try to take a little small part of this plastic waste out of the ocean. But I'm a scuba diver. I'm an avid fisherman. I'm an avid hunter. I'm a biker in the woods. I bring out more trash in my pockets in my backpack than people would imagine. But I went to Los Angeles last weekend, and I drove down one of the highways, and I couldn't believe what I saw on the side of the roads. The plastic. It was every single type of plastic that you could imagine. Bottles, and it was just amazing. It looked like you walked into somebody's recycling center. That's how thick it was. And then that's when I thought, human beings are slobs. Human beings are slobs, and this small part that we're doing at the end of our world may not make a difference around the world, but it makes a difference in our community. So I will be supporting this tonight also.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor O'Hara.
Thank you. I just, as I mentioned to Councilor Heck and at O&A, you know, the straws represent, I'll be supporting this first of all, but the straws represent just a small fraction of the plastic. Councilor Lundberg, could I borrow that thing right there? Yeah, please. This compared to this. I want people to look at what's happening real time in Great Barrington, Massachusetts regarding these things. These things are being outlawed in Great Barrington. Single-use water bottles, distribution, you will not be able to buy these in Great Barrington. They're putting in, as Councilor Heck, Councilor Cox, we talked at the environmental at Merrimack College this past winter. They're adding water filling stations throughout the town of Great Barrington so that they can accommodate the need for these. Because I can tell you, a lot of you are a lot younger than I am. But when I was a kid, these things didn't exist. Did not exist. But yet, this is all people walk around with today. So we're talking about a minute amount of plastic, and we've got these things. Everyone has them. You go to Market Basket, you go to Shaw's, you go any place, you buy them. People are walking out by cases of these things. Why? Because our water quality. So we really need to look, again, I'm supporting these, but we have to look at the bigger picture. We did the plastic bag ban. That's been a nightmare for the supermarkets, for Home Depots. They don't know what to do. They're sending the people out with their paper bags. They're going out into taking the bag out of their cars, try it in the pouring rain, and the bag falls apart. They walk back in, and guess what they have to do? They have to redeem all their products. So there's going to be the turning to the compostable, because the paper just does not work for the people who don't bring their bags, the reusables. But again, I want to congratulate Councilor Heck. I want to congratulate Councilor Blank for beating it up. He did his homework. But this is just a small part. I think we have to look at the bigger picture. There are a lot of other things. We're looking at styrofoam. There's no recycling for styrofoam. But yet styrofoam exists all over the place. There are countries that are banning, there are states that are banning styrofoam. Maine, Portland, Maine, banned. So we have to look at the bigger things, and there is pain and agony. Possibly we should ask Mr. Destino. He being, I apologize. I don't talk much, but I'm talking right now. Okay. Thank you.
I just lost one of my important speakers.
But nonetheless, we have to do some things to help the environment. Again, I support these, but we have to really look at the bigger picture. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor. Thanks for my bottle back. Okay, anybody else? So, this is a voice vote. Simple majority. Everybody had their say. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? It passes unanimously. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Another thing for the council to be proud of. Madam Clerk, next order of business.
Next order of business is public hearing 2019-034 to amend Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Division 8, Human Rights Commission by adding the following sections. Section 2.502, Disability Rights Commission established terms. Section 2503, Election of Chairperson, Rules of Procedure, Quorum. Section 2504, Purposes. Section 2505, Definition of Person with Disability. Section 2506, Powers and Duties, and Section 2507, Records.
Thank you. I'll open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone to speak in favor of this proposal. Donna. Thank you for being so patient, Donna. Tell us what this is all about, please.
Yes, I'm here to speak in favor of amending the Human Rights Commission ordinance, which serves as an umbrella ordinance under which we propose a new ordinance, and that's the Disability Rights Commission ordinance. The umbrella Human Rights Commission ordinance guarantees protections to all people of protected groups within our city, and one of those protected groups is the our persons with disabilities. And we feel that this ordinance that is before you tonight for review will guarantee equal access to all city programs, services, and facilities for all of our citizens. And as we put a great deal of thought into this, I enjoyed working jointly with Councilor Gilman as we developed this ordinance, and it really was a true pleasure to work in a cooperative basis because we feel that a lot of good will come out of this new Human Rights Commission, and a lot will come out of the Disability Rights Commission as well. We hope, with the Disability Rights Commission, we intend to best meet the needs of our citizens, to clarify roles and responsibilities, and establish the commission as an advisory group to Mayor Taken. Mayor Taken is in full support of both of these commissions, and we feel this will greatly enhance equal rights for all of our citizens going forward. As I look at the Disability Rights Commission ordinance as written, Councilor Gilman and the administration propose that we have a 7-person commission, and they would serve 3-year terms, but we would stagger the appointments initially to ensure some stability. We would follow all applicable laws that prohibit discrimination and to promote inclusion and tolerance in all of our activities. The purposes of the Disability Rights Commission include: we would research the local problems and challenges of people with disabilities. We'd advise municipal officials and employees to ensure compliance with state and federal laws and regulations that affect people with disabilities. We would work closely with the city's ADA coordinator and inventory all of the programs and services that we currently have in place for people with disabilities, but we would have an avenue to promote public awareness of the services that we already have in place to bring about maximum participation of people with disabilities in all of our activities. The commission will recommend to the mayor and the ADA coordinator new programs and services needed to meet the problems and challenges of people with disabilities and to ensure equal access. We also review and make recommendations to the mayor about current policies, procedures, services, activities, and facilities of city departments, boards, and agencies of Gloucester as they would affect people with disabilities. And then the final purpose would, the commission would serve as a information source and make referrals for guidance and technical assistance in all matters pertaining to disability to individuals, public agencies, businesses, and organizations throughout the city. So it would be a very valuable service. What's before you in this ordinance is a description of the powers and duties of this new commission to ensure equal status of persons with disabilities in the areas of education, employment, the economy, politics, housing, and health, to acquire, analyze, use, and store disability-related statistics to use for program planning and evaluation, to provide a public forum in which citizens with disabilities may identify specific barriers that may prevent them from taking full advantage of city programs, initiatives, and facilities, and then the commission would so advise the mayor on any recommended actions. to assist in public awareness and inclusion of persons with disabilities through participation in public events, including but not limited to city-sponsored recreational, educational, and development activities. The commission would serve to refer complaints or grievances to the appropriate local, state, or federal agency for resolution. And the commission will also provide to the mayor and the city council and the school committee a full annual report. We keep all records of activities, and I should just note that Mayor Taken is actively accepting applications for interested citizens who wish to serve on both the Human Rights Commission and this proposed Disability Rights Commission once it is voted by you. We're hoping to get one of the 7 members. Both commissions have 7 members in the way they're constructed, but we would really welcome one member to serve on both to ensure parallel services and unity through all. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Any communications?
There are none.
Any councilor questions as to the details of this? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Call for the committee report.
Yes. Ordinance Administration voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the City Council amend Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Division 8, Human Rights Commission by adding the following sections: 2-502, Disability Rights Commission established term; 2-503, Election of Chairperson, Rules and Procedures; 2-504, Purposes; 2-505, Definition of Purpose with Disability; 2-506, Powers of Duties; and 2-507, Records as follows. And I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any?
Donna did a very good job with the narrative.
Yes. And I will say that I kind of participated in some of the vetting of this in terms of the technical wording and stuff, and they did a really good job between Donna and Councilor Gilman, and I think O&A did a pretty good job in vetting it, and I'm good with it as it is. Anybody else? Councilor Gilman?
I'll be 1 minute. So there were, this again was great working with Donna. We were on the same wavelength the whole time. We did some best practices. We looked at what other municipalities had, and that was really helpful. One of the things that really hit home with me is something I just learned recently, is that folks with dementia really, in Alzheimer's, really struggle with even something as little as when people get creative on bathroom doors and they put like gulls and buoys and things like that. I mean, so in learning more about dementia friendly, which Gloucester now is, that's a problem. And it really took an expert to explain that, in that they're asking that people underneath put the traditional signs of a male and a female to help folks with dementia. It's just one small area of things that we all need to keep on top of, because we are such a great city. We're so inclusive of people with all kinds of issues, but we can't forget the disabled. And by approving this ordinance tonight, we're going to have a group that will be focused on this, working closely with the mayor's office and our ADA coordinator, who is Mike Hale, and Donna, which I think is fabulous, and we'll be doing the right things for the folks in our community. We already do great things. We can now have a forum where we learn how to be better communicators to people what we have, and benchmark what we need to do better. So I am absolutely excited about this, and again, I thank Donna for her for being such a great partner on this and for staying so late, and I will be supporting this ordinance, and I hope you all join me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilor. Anybody else? Councilor Cox?
I just want to thank Councilor Gilman for bringing this forward. I know it was a big undertaking to do the research and look what other communities are doing and sit with legal. I've had my fair share of those, so it does take a lot of work. So I appreciate bringing this forward.
Councilor Holmgren?
I'm delighted to support this tonight. Thank you, Councilor Gilman, and thank you, Donna, and to the administration. This is great. I can't wait to see what this yields.
Councilor Hecht and Councilor O'Hara?
Ditto.
Ditto. Councilor O'Hara?
Thank you, Councilor Gilman and Donna. I will be supporting this.
Thank you. Just my quick comment is that, you know, the Human Rights Commission ordinance existed for a long time. It was dormant. And when this first came up, the mayor did show some interest in reviving that. And the issue of disabilities, you know, came to the fore. And so the existing ordinance is now proposed to be revised to highlight the ways that we can do look at the disability issue as well. So this is really a good piece of legislation, and I'll be supporting it too. Anybody else? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Donna and Councilor Gilman. Madam Clerk, next order.
Public hearing 2019-035 to amend Gloucester Code of Ordinance Appendix A and B of Appendix C of the Personnel Ordinance by deleting ASME A and related positions and adding a new ASME A positions as submitted by the Human Resources Director and a memo dated April 29, 2009.
Open the public hearing and ask anybody who wishes to speak in favor. And Donna, we're going to see how fast you can do this. I think we all kind of know what you're what the purpose is, so you can give us a brief briefing.
I will try to give you a quick summary of why I'm here tonight. We have a personnel ordinance is Appendix C attached to the Code of Ordinances, and the personnel ordinance does mandate that I maintain a job classification system for every job within the city, excepting the school department. Historically, even union positions, which are collectively bargained in terms of what job classifications are contained in this repository of all job titles and classifications. So I'm here tonight because we just recently completed a reorganization plan for the AFSCME A bargaining unit, which is DPW plus a few other positions as well. And we have completely revamped our organizational structure. We have built-in career ladders and hopefully really strengthened our structure so that there's room for professional growth and motivation for folks to advance in their career with the City of Gloucester. So what's before you here is a classification plan that I think reflects our high standards that we hold for developing a professional workforce, and that will serve to motivate our employees to advance through a true career ladder. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone speak in opposition? Any communications?
There are none.
No communications. Any councilor questions as to the technicalities? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and call for the committee report.
Ordinance Administration voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the City Council amend Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Appendix A and B of Appendix C of the Personal Ordinance by deleting the following AFSCME A and related positions, and waive the motion to waive the reading.
So moved.
Second. Okay. And I so move.
Yep. Moved and second. Seconded. Pretty clear summary. Anybody have any questions? Simple majority. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Public hearing 2019-036 to amend Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 20, Shellfish, Seaworms, and Eels, Section 4, areas set aside for non-commercial taking of shellfish by deleting the phrase number 10, none buoy, and adding in its place number 11, can buoy.
So I'll open the public hearing and just report, TJ texted me tonight and asked if Pete had to be here for this. And I said no. He said, well, it's Pete's day off. I said, Pete doesn't have to be here because he gave a complete description at O&A, so when we get to the committee report, you'll understand what we're talking about. It's really a testimony to Pete's thoroughness that he's doing stuff like this, and it's really important. So anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Any communications?
There are none.
Any councilor questions? Seeing none, I'll close the hearing and call for the committee report. Councilor LeBlanc.
Ordinance Administration voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the City Council amend Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 20, Shellfish, Seaworms, and Eels, Section 4, Area set aside for non-commercial taking of shellfish by deleting the phrase number 10, none buoy, and adding in its place number 11, can buoy. And I so move.
Moved and seconded. You just want to briefly tell everybody what this is?
I wasn't there.
Oh, okay. Well, I was there. I think I was sitting in for you. So the way that the shellfish ordinance is, there are references to markers like these cans and nuns in the channel as to what locations that he is in the course of his duties is either opening or closing and so forth. And this, in his perusal of the facts out in the water, because he's getting out in the water, he discovered this little anomaly. It's just a correction. It doesn't change the size of this particular bed. It just makes the right reference to the channel marker that's in the Annisquam River near the Annisquam Yacht Club. So that's what this is all about. So I guess we motioned and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next item.
Next item is public hearing 2019-037 to amend Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 5, Boards, Commissions, Councils, and Committees by adding a new Division 18 entitled Dogtown Preservation Commission.
Okay, I'll open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone to speak in favor of this proposal. Oh, okay. Yes, thanks for staying, Cindy. Welcome. Name and address, please.
Cindy Dunn, 93 Wheeler Street here in Gloucester. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Excuse me if I slur a little bit. It's getting a little late. But thank you, Councilor Gilman. Thank you, Councilor Lumbig, for introducing this ordinance to create a Dogtown Preservation Committee. I'm on the Dogtown Advisory Committee. I've been on it for about 4 years. I think that this is a great way to increase our ability to communicate with the DPW director, communicate with the Conservation Commission, because after all, they're responsible for Dogtown. We've had some accomplishments in the past few years. We cleaned up the old stump dump with the help of DPW, started an inventory on the parcels in Dogtown, really to figure out what's in there that we need to sort of clear title, what needs to be protected, where the boundaries are of Dogtown. And most importantly, we started revising the 1985 management plan. So having a Dogtown Preservation Committee will sort of elevate some of the work that we've been doing with the DPW director, Conservation Commission, Fire Department, Ward 4 City Councilor at the table so they can have input, and it'll remove any sort of kinks in the communication chain that we've been finding. I hope you'll support it, and thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak in favor? Name and address.
Good evening again. Carty Winchester, 62 Veterans Way, Gloucester. Again, if you need to know that. I grew up from a very early age hiking through the trails of Dogtown. I know them very well. They're like good old friends, and I'm still out there today. And I know that there are several places and landmarks there that no other place on the planet has a history like Dogtown has. Many places, as I mentioned in a couple of council meetings before, have been plowed under, have been turned into tourist attractions. Dogtown has something very special that you don't see many other places. In fact, the only other place I know that even comes close is Pemaquid, Maine. And that too has been dug up pretty well. Dogtown needs the protection of preservation. It needed the protection, in my estimation, of the NHR, which we didn't get. That's okay. And I'm very, very happy, hopefully, to see this pass through, and that there'll be a better set of eyes on Dogtown. Thank you.
Thank you, Gardy. Thanks for coming. and staying. Charlie, name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Charlie Crowley. I'm 19 Biscay Head Point. I'm on two committees. I'm the representative from the Open Space Committee on the Dogtown Advisory Committee now. And, I'm kind of one of these, I guess, tired volunteers. I've been doing this now for 15 years. And my frustration has been that the committees speak to themselves. So we're a group that talk to each other. This is an opportunity now to create a committee where you have the Director of Public Works, you have the Conservation Commission, you have the Ward Council member, and it's one of the unique opportunities for a committee to actually engage with the people who have the obligation citywide to carry out the important stewardship matters. And I think we just need it. This has been going on too long. When Dogtown land was acquired in 1984 and 85, we promised the state that we would create this exact kind of committee, and we said that it would have actually an even bigger group, that it would have that it would have the representative from the police department, a representative of the fire department. I think what we're doing here is adequate, and I think it's well needed, and I just say move forward on it. Thank you very much, Val, for doing it. Thank you very much for Paul, and let's
Thank
have
you.
it done. Thanks.
Thanks, Charlie. Welcome. Name and address for the record.
My name is Mary Devaney, and I live in Rockport. I hope it's okay if I speak. I am speaking for the organizations which we like to think of ourselves as part of Greater Dogtown. And we really appreciate all that Val has done to try and bring all this together, because we do need leadership. I represent the 150 acres, which is owned by the New England Forestry Foundation, which is adjacent to what we discussed as Dogtown. And I'm on the Rockport Rights of Way Committee and Cape Ann Trail Stewards, and all these organizations, and anybody who really goes into Dogtown knows that once you get in there, the boundaries sort of dissolve. But Gloucester is the big player and the one with the most power, and so we look to Gloucester for leadership and really a model of working within the different committees and organizations within the community, and we would like to do that ourselves. And I've been on the Dogtown Advisory Committee observing for about a year and a half, and everybody listens to us if we have an opinion very nicely, but we learn from it. And I think this is an opportunity for Gloucester to really be a model. And I want to put in a little plug here. I've been sort of working under the radar in Gloucester for to remove graffiti since 2014. I've worked with the DPW with Mike Hale, and people have been very supportive. It's been removed from the public library twice, DPW storage facilities. We've taken it off at Goose Cove and at a minimal expense. And while I was watching your River Fest, I was thinking that I would hope somebody walks down on that waterfront before this event occurs, because the boulders have some new graffiti on them on those two little beaches, and it really reflects poorly on communities when you have your boulders defaced on the beaches and the granite. And if I'm happy to cooperate with, as I have already, with Gloucester if you choose to do that. Thank you, and thank you, Val, for leading us.
Thank you. Anyone else in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Any communications?
Yes.
Yes. Whoop.
Sorry. You received this letter, this statement from Phil Schwartz and his wife Suzanne in favor. Also, you have a communication from Jeff Brown in favor, but he would want to remove from the ordinance some amendments regarding grant money restorations and dissemination of information to the public about recreational opportunities in Dogtown. And Councilor Gilman just forwarded me a letter from Mark Carlotta, who had to leave the meeting, and he is in support, and he would like to state his support as a former member, chairman of the Dogtown Advisory Committee, and was grateful to Councilor Gilman for turning the ad hoc into to the commission, and he's in support of this proposed commission, and it will help the city to protect and preserve Dogtown for future generations.
Thank you. Any councilor questions as to the technicalities? Then we'll close the public hearing, call for the committee report.
Ordinances Administration voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed to recommend that the City Council amend Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 5, Boards, Commissions, Councils, and Committees by adding a new Division 18 entitled Dogtown Preservation Commission as follows. And I'd like to waive the reading because it's 3 pages long. Well, we don't have enough time.
Anybody
And I so
object?
moved.
Okay. Good, second. So we'll waive the reading, and we had a motion and a second. So, Councilor Gilman, did you want to amend something here?
I do, and I just have a small amendment. I would like to, and I passed it out to councilors before, so you can follow along. I'd like to amend something in Section 25598 under Purpose, number 3. I would like to recommend, or I would like to move that we delete exploring conservation partnerships and add establishing working relationships. So delete exploring conservation partnerships and adding establishing working relationships.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded.
Thank you.
On the amendment, any comment, any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, now we've amended the full motion, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. So we now have the motion before us. Anybody want to say anything? Councilor Holmgren.
I just want to say I'm so happy to support this, and tonight's council meeting has a common thread, and that's community coming together in kindness and work and action to make our space better for everyone. When I was growing up, this is a true story, my mother was a transcendental meditation practitioner, and so she would quote a lot of Maharishi in our home, and one of the things that he always used to say was, if you want to change the world, clean your room. And Val is showing us how to clean our rooms, and as is the entire Dogtown Advisory Commission. So thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Did you say ditto again? Oh.
And our students as well.
Yes, sir. Okay. Anyone, Councilor O'Hara, did you want to raise your hand?
Yeah, I'll be supporting this, and I'll do whatever it takes to, I mean, we had a long public hearing, or not a public hearing, the informational from Joe Cahill on 95 the River and the event down to Stage 4 where we're going to have 5,000, Councilor Blumberg boosted up to 15,000, but basically long and short is similar to what Councilor LeBlanc, someplace where you can go and it's quiet and there aren't people. So if we can keep Dogtown as quiet as possible and keep, no offense, but keep people away, it'd be beautiful.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else? Councilor Gilman, you raising your hand?
Yeah, I would just like to say just a couple things, and I will work on being brief. I totally want to extend my thanks to members of the Dogtown Advisory Committee, Cindy Dunn, Charlie Crowley, Chris Leahy, who wasn't able to make it here tonight, Dina Enos, Mark Collada, who recently resigned from his position, but he's going to take back some leadership roles on Friends of Dogtown. And he was here until a half an hour ago. He was traveling out of town in the morning, so he left. Gardner Winchester, who's been a wonderful advocate for Dogtown. Mary is a Katz. She's at all of our meetings. I mean, we have so much passion for Dogtown, and I think that this ordinance, if the council supports and approves it tonight, is going to be a great way to work side by side to members of the city and really begin to work on all the important things that we know that Dogtown deserves. It's a gem. We all love it. We want to protect it. We want to preserve it. We don't want to make it anything more than what it is, but we want to make what it is nice. And, you know, so I think that this is really important. I am blessed that the mayor supported this from the very beginning. I appreciate that, as well as Mike Hale. They've given significant support of the ordinance. They've looked closely. Chip Payson and Jim Destino have read it closely. Jamie's reminding that I'm talking a lot, and I appreciate that Council Lundberg decided to join me on this. So I'm really proud of our volunteers, and I'm proud of what this means to Dogtown. So thank you for in advance, and thank you for staying so late. I'm so sorry. I owe you pizza or something,
Okay.
but I totally appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Yes, Counselor Cox, go ahead.
I do appreciate the fact that this was brought from a limited basis to now a full-time advisory group.
Right.
It's amazing the power of community involvement. So, we were taking hikes up there 5 years ago, and it was littered with trash, and it has gotten better. Cape Ann Trail stewards also have valuable input into this area. So I appreciate everybody that steps up and puts their name on a board or advisory committee, because it's phenomenal what the power can be done with that.
Thank you, Councilor LeBlanc.
I'll be quick. This is awesome. This is what we want. So I'm 100% for it. This is keeping it local, keeping it natural, keeping it how it is. Like Gardner said, goes up there. I've been going up there my whole life too. It's perfect the way it is.
So just to reflect on our process, I'm very proud that we got here, because if you'll recall, this kind of started when we had the proposal for the National Registry, to put Dogtown on the National Registry, and there was a lot of fits and starts and misinformation and not so good vibe. And when we had if you recall, when we had our public hearing on that, we said to the public, we had a big crowd that night, we're not going to have a for or against. What do we want to do? And we had some pretty good input, and we had Mike Hale say, I'd really like a management plan. That's what I'd like. And so this came from that. So that was a pretty nice use of the legislative process. So, well, you've had yours.
I know. I'm allowed to speak twice, though, with your permission.
No.
Yes? Thank you. Do you mind?
We have the 30s. Go. What is it?
I do want to say something. The Dogtown Advisory Committee has been working diligently on updating the 1985 management plan, and that will be a great transition to this new commission, and I know Mike Hale is looking forward to seeing that, and that will become part of, like I said, the transition. And there's been some great work, and it has all of the history of Dogtown in it, and we just want to continue that and then just tighten it up with our management plan as we move forward with this new ordinance. So thank you. Thank you for letting me speak for the second time, Counselor. Appreciate it.
Thank you. No more. Okay, just a simple majority vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Congratulations on that. Madam Clerk, next item.
Public hearing 2019-038 to amend Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 22, Traffic and Motor Vehicles, Section 22-292, Fire Lanes, by deleting Horton Street both sides from lot number 21 in a southwesterly direction to the dead-end gate at the entrance of Rural Industries, and adding Horton Street both sides from its intersection with Clarendon Street in a southerly direction to the dead-end gate.
Okay, open the public hearing. Anybody speak in favor? Anybody speak opposed? Any communications?
None.
Any councilor questions? Close the public hearing. Committee report.
Ordinance Administration voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the City Council amend Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 22, Traffic and Motor Vehicles, Section 22-29, Fire Lanes, by deleting Horton Street both sides from a lot number 21 in a southwesterly direction to the dead-end gate of the entrance of Rural Industries, by adding Horton Street with both sides of the intersection with Clarendon Street in a southerly direction to the dead-end gate, and I so move.
Second.
How's that?
That was great. Moved
like
and
the fast
seconded.
talker on TV.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next item. Order of business.
It's the update of the Waterways Board by City Council Representative Councilor Steve LeBang.
All right.
Order of business.
So Waterways Board's awesome, Shellfish is awesome. As we can see, Peter's been up here the past few weeks, tightening up the ordinance, which is really good. We haven't had a shellfish constable like that in a long time. So TJ's office is awesome, we're awesome, you're awesome. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, Gloucester, great. All right, Councilors, Councilor Holmgren, anything? Anything to Councilor Memhard?
I have to say that I wanted to thank Mike Hale. He's awesome. The Briar Neck neighborhood is awesome. We had over 70 neighbors attending a Friday night meeting with Mike Hale, informational about betterment paving on 6 or now 8 streets there, following a water infrastructure improvement program. They hope to go ahead and have a formal legal vote on July 13th here in City Hall, but Mike Hale was indeed awesome.
That is awesome.
Secondly, the East Gloucester School Building Committee is awesome, and they are moving ahead. They met Thursday. They'll be presenting to us, I believe, in a week on July 9th here. To give an update, they've reduced the number of sites from 14 down to 9 on East Gloucester Veterans and Schoolhouse Road options for a new school. Our piping plovers are awesome. I'm a very proud grandparent there. They are 3.5 weeks old now, and they Papa Plover. They're not quite flying yet, but they will be soon. But they have found out that they can swim, which is sort of weird because they don't have webbed feet. But they can swim across the creek, and they're still about the size of a golf ball, so they're pretty amazing. And then I just want to say that my East Gloucester waterfront abutters are awesome. They're balancing the challenges of living in a working waterfront with due respect for our regulations and the quality of their lives. And I was really proud that they were all advocating for their needs there. And I think we all heard them clearly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome job.
Awesome. Councilor Cox, are you awesome too?
No, but you know what is awesome? The Magnolia Farmers Market. 2 Sundays in a row I've been there, and they are a well-oiled machine. They are fabulous. The streets are shut down, properly. It's just, the vendors are great, or should they be awesome? It's just fabulous. And I hope everybody has a very happy and safe fiesta. I just got back from Portugal, so I got to celebrate fiesta there, which was amazing and very interesting. It's very similar to ours. And a very happy 3rd of July, 4th of July, I don't know how to say that here. Anyway, also it'd be very nice if DPW could post on their Facebook page regarding the use of C-Click Fix and reporting graffiti, because it is becoming a huge problem in the city. It's not just in secluded areas any longer. It's on our public buildings. It's downtown, in our parks, and on the rocks and the beaches, as we've seen. So if DPW could put a post out on C-Click Fix or on their Facebook page about C-Click Fix and how to report it, that would be great.
Councilor LeBlanc?
I am not going to be here for Fiesta. It's going to be my second time my whole life, besides being in boot camp back in 1990, and I'm so looking forward to it.
Viva. Councilor Hecht?
I just want